Okay, excellent. Perfect.
All right, it's the number 101. First Tide Pods, now they're fucking snorting condoms. Now these are the same youth that fucking tell us about gun control and how clear backpacks are a violation of their personal property or
Technically, it's a
okay
violation of
40.
their First Amendment, even though that technically doesn't even apply to the First Amendment.
Oh, it's a good point too. They don't even know what fucking amendment that they're bitching about.
Yeah.
Now these idiots are, instead of using condoms, so they don't get pregnant at 16, they are shoving the condoms up their nose in an internet challenge.
I kind of want to
Fuck
see
me,
this.
40.
I kind of want to see this now. I'm not gonna lie. Let me Google it really quick.
All right, yeah, and screen share if you want, I guess. We'll see this degeneracy live before our very eyes. But I
All
mean,
right.
what are we gonna do with these kids? Can we go back to beating them?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my. Yeah, can I screen share? Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Let's show the one person that's watching.
All right, no, this is good shit. Hold on, man. All right. Look at this, right? Look at this fucking hold on. Can't remember how to zoom in. Is it uh look at that fucking degeneracy, man. Holy shit. It literally goes like in her nose. And like you can see it in the pictures above. It goes in her nose, right? And it literally comes out her mouth. That is fucking disgusting.
Now, is that a condom or is it just one of the normal ones?
Uh I I don't even know, dude. This is so fucking goddamn degenerate. Oh my god. This is disgusting. This is just fucking nasty as fuck.
Yeah, yeah, I'm at a loss for words. I mean, why do they even think that's a good idea?
Dude, I fucking don't even know. That's really fucking nasty though. That's awful.
So can we just ban? I mean, you have to be 18 or something before you can just go on YouTube. Obviously, we've entrusted you with too much responsibility. You can't fucking do YouTube.
Yeah, apparently. Well, there's always Snapchat, I suppose. Yeah, that's pretty bad though. I mean, that's one thing that I love and hate about internet culture at the same time. You know, one person does something really stupid and everyone else follows suit for some odd reason. You know, and it's always dumb shit like the what's it called, like the ice bucket challenge or something like that. And then they'll come up with something else like eating Tide Pods, and then it just gets worse, like snorting condoms. Who the fuck came up with these? Like, Jesus Christ, man.
What happened to the 17-year-olds sniffing fucking cocaine? Why do they have to do fucking condoms? At least there's a reason behind coke. I mean,
Dude, right.
fucking damn.
When I was a kid, me and my friends used to shoot each other with BB guns and so you could take the most shots. Like, what happened to regular good old boy stuff like that, you know? Like, what do we have to go about huffing condoms?
Yeah, or elementary school on the bus. There's always the idiot kid snorting Smarties. That was at least smarter than a condom.
Dude, I know, or like the pencil injection thing, you know? Whoever did that was a cool kid when that first came about. Jesus Christ, though. This is a whole new level of retarded. Oh my god.
Yeah, and I don't even know what else we could really say about that. I mean, it's just plain stupidity.
Yeah, it's just a downward spiral. I mean, next thing you know, people are going to be trying to prolapse their own fucking anus with like a vacuum cleaner or something like that, you know. Take the nozzle off and just, you know, stick it right up there. See how much of that good old intestine you can get out of you.
Well, yeah, or here's one. It's the wine anus challenge. Okay,
Oh my
hook a
god.
hose up to a wine bottle and insert that into your rectum. Like, at
Yeah.
least you'll die drunk, and then you won't be suffocating on a fucking condom. Dumb bastards.
Yeah, and what a horrible way to die, because if you do, like, what if you snort too much of it up, right? And it gets lodged in your throat by accident or something, and you're the motherfucker who died because you decided to snort a condom. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, or if you have a latex allergy and you just don't know yet because, well, I don't know, you're 15 and never really used a condom, and you snort that thing up your nose and you get a severe fucking reaction and you die right there. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, yeah, there are people that are like the main ingredient in condoms is like it's an avocado-based product, but like if you're allergic to avocados, you can have a pretty visceral reaction to certain condoms. If like you're allergic to avocados, which is something that's really weird. Don't ask me how I know that, but um, yeah, that can all be fun.
Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do next. I mean, is it gonna be the wine anus challenge? Is that the next thing for them? I mean,
I kind of hope it's like the bleach challenge, right? See how much bleach you can drink before you die. That'd be a good one. Let Darwinism take good old effect. Oh, Jesus Christ, man.
yeah, but I guess we'll move on to some real news. I got a article from Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera. Um, they sell Africans over there. Libya's slave trade. It has been reported people are being auctioned in a modern day slave market in Libya for as little as $400. Forget buying that PS4, Jimmy. Buy yourself a brand new person. You never have to fold that fucking laundry again. You just get Toby to do it. What do you think about the modern slave trade?
Yeah, well, I mean, this has been a thing since Libya collapsed in on itself, really. This has been going on for quite some time. People just don't like the the nasty little pictures that like I'm having to look at right now. They don't want to watch the horrifying truth unfold before them, so they kind of just sweep it under the rug. Um, but I mean, it's ridiculous. People have been saying this for a really long time, and no one has ever really caught on. Especially people like YouTube and everything, the proactive journalists that actually go to their way and travel the globe, and they're not just sitting there in a like a studio with nice shiny lights above them. They go home to their 6 kids and whatever. Yes, I don't know.
Hey, now I don't have studio lighting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's I don't know. Yeah, it's a fucked up part. This has been going on for a while. It's just no one likes to talk about it because it makes us look like shit. Our allies look like shit.
Dollars. Yeah, but like, put $400, man. Like I said, off air, I was looking for a PS4 on Amazon, and I was looking at like $400 or more for a PlayStation. They are selling human beings for as little as a fucking gaming console.
Dude, I know.
That's
what you could do, right, is get yourself a nice African slave and bring him over, okay? And then you make him work at McDonald's until he gets $400, and then bam, you make him buy the PS4. And he can do that all fucking day. You can have, that's like practically infinite PS4s.
Nice. Now, if we start doing a PS4 giveaway on the Redeye stream, you'll know why.
Yes, he's got those Libyan slaves plucking away at the tobacco.
What's up, Mad Dodge 40? You guys look a little lonely.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Yeah. Do you want to say anything about this modern day slave market, or should I dig a little bit more into this article? It's a pretty short article, actually.
Yeah, I kind of perused it in the Discord. I mean, imagine my shock that Africans are still selling Africans to people. Imagine. There's not much more to it. I mean, it's pretty much a well-indentured practice in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
What I find odd is you have South Africa where the blacks are rising up to kill the white farmers. So they're going to end up essentially.
I was
Oh, go
hoping
ahead.
you'd bring that up.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've been keeping tabs on it because it's something that I find worth noting. That a post-apartheid South Africa is actually, they just passed a vote to go and take white farmland, farmland owned by white South Africans without compensation, based purely on the color of their skin.
Yeah. Well, has anything new been happening aside from that?
Well,
I mean,
I saw an
other than
article by Conscious Clerical earlier on Twitter. There's actual videos of these guys attacking the white farmers, and they have fucking military grade jamming equipment. And there was literally a side by side of the guys sneaking onto the property, and you could see the jamming equipment in the backpack. And then next to it is the actual equipment. It costs over $12,000.
Wait,
yeah, I wonder how they got that.
you're talking about like what is it, like ECM jammers or something like that? They jam like jam signals, like radio waves, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Satellite phones, all that shit. It jams the signal, yeah. And they cost over $12,000, and these guys have them in in backpacks on their back. I mean, somebody is funding this shit.
I wonder what government could be giving giving them all that expensive equipment. Oh my gosh.
See, what's funny though is if these people tried to leave South Africa and go to Europe and seek asylum or refugee status, they'd get turned the F around. They wouldn't even make it halfway into Germany.
Well, the funny part is that someone actually did seek asylum, or tried to seek asylum in Canada. There was a family that went to Canada under the guise of vacation. So they went there for holiday, and they tried to stay and claim asylum. But the Canadian government said that they had fallen victim to racist propaganda and actually sent them back to South Africa. So yeah, they're probably dead.
Out of here.
Dead
oh yeah, they're
serious.
definitely dead.
Yeah. And no word from Australia. I don't even know if they've been accepting. I know they extended the offer, but I don't know if they have accepted anyone as of yet.
To white South Africans?
Yeah.
Huh.
Let me see if I can find anything on it.
Well, I think it's also how they are murdering the white farmers in South Africa. But in other parts of Africa, they're still selling people of their own race. Why don't they just round up the white farmers and sell them to the slave markets in Libya? That sounds like two birds, one stone to me.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh, I think I found something. This is from New York Times. Reporting coming out of Hong Kong for some fucking reason. A top Australian official said this week that white farmers from South Africa will be granted emergency visas, saying they are needed to protect a civilized country amid a debate over redistribution of their land to black citizens. On Thursday, being March 15th, actually, South African Foreign Minister fired back, characterizing the remarks made by Peter Dutton, Australia's Home Affairs Minister, as regrettable. White farmers are not at risk, the minister said. Quote, there is no reason for any government anywhere in the world to suspect that any South African is in danger from their own democratically elected government, said some guy named Mbambe. A spokesman for South Africa's foreign ministry said in a statement that threat simply does not exist. South Africa's governing party, the African National Congress, has proposed a constitutional amendment to expropriate land without paying the landowners, and the majority of South African farmers remain under white ownership for more than 25 years after apartheid ended. Dutton oversees immigration on Australia, and he said in an interview on Wednesday that white farmers deserve special protection. and he proposed offering the farmers expedited visas to resettle in Australia on humanitarian grounds. So it's probably going to be happening, but they're not going to do it without a fight.
Well, I mean, I think that would be the best place for them to immigrate to then, right? Because, I mean, Africa and South Africa and Australia aren't necessarily that far away from each other.
In terms of the terrain, I can't imagine a better place, really. But this is how I see it going. Either the South African government is going to get away with basically, all the world's governments endorsing genocide, and they're going to do it, or South Africans are going to leave, and then you're gonna have the next headline is going to be South Africans starving due to fucking famine or some shit like that. Almost guaranteed.
I'd pay money to see that shit. Fucking happen in Zimbabwe.
Well, yeah. I mean, Rhodesia. You mean Rhodesia, where they used to be the breadbasket of Africa?
Oh, yeah, Rhodesia, my bad.
Oh, no, it's Zimbabwe now, but Rhodesia is what it was under white colonial rule, and that happened there. I don't see why history wouldn't repeat itself.
Yeah, well, it certainly will. People never fucking learn.
No.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I mean, and it's not only the confiscation of land, it's also the fact that they're going to these places in mobs and murder going on. It might be a slow genocide compared to others, but it is happening.
It's state-sanctioned violence based on the color of somebody's skin, and the only reason nobody cares about it and it's not, making all of the headlines all over the world is because it's against white people.
Yeah. Well, that and
which is really
No, well, I was gonna say that, and I mean the Africans, when they have a genocide, they tend to use machetes, so I can't imagine it being a quick, clean death, like a bullet to the head or something.
Oh no, why would it be? And I mean, a bullet to the head isn't even really that quick or clean of a death either. I mean, yeah, depending upon where they shoot you, it'll be lights out, but still, between the two, I'd rather neither, but
yeah,
I guess I don't really have an option at that point. If I'm not mistaken, I believe part of the African National Congress, or whatever the hell it is, the ANC, they actually confiscated weapons from white South Africans a long time ago.
Really? So people are building up like private stockpiles, like in secret or something?
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm digging into knowledge from when I was, much younger and wasn't really clued into this kind of stuff. So, but I think I remember hearing a headline that they actually were confiscating weapons.
Yeah.
But I don't. Again, don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure.
Oh no, I believe you. It wouldn't surprise me if people had to build up secret arsenals. Because I mean, you do see South African farmers running around with AR-15s and everything. You do see them with moderate arms, but you're not exactly seeing them running around with LMGs or anything. It's nothing wrong.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how accurate that statement is. Maybe it was just something they were considering doing, because usually that's the precursor to genocide. So.
Yeah.
This has also been building for quite a while, right? I think, as you said earlier, apartheid ended, 20 years ago?
I think apartheid ended a lot longer ago than that.
Let me see. I want to check, actually.
Yeah, do a fact check on that one.
Well, while he's doing that, I'll take a look at the slavery story again. Libya is a main transit hub for refugees and migrants attempting to reach southern Europe by sea. They are coming from countries like Nigeria, Ghana or whatever, Ivory Coast, Gambia, Senegal, Sudan, and Somalia. The power vacuum and fall of Gaddafi has made human trafficking and people smuggling a booming trade. And the EU's renewed strategy to stop and send refugees traveling across the Mediterranean has led to more people being stuck in the North African country without money or food. So if the people's trafficking is a booming trade, why are they only $400? I mean, I would think
abundant supply,
more money.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that half of them can't pay their way across the Mediterranean, so they get fucking enslaved. Jesus. And when they do get there, they fucking probably end up raping everyone. That's probably where you get all the gangs from. But apartheid ended in 94, so it's been about 20 years.
Really?
24 to be exact.
I did not know that.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, you know, the only reason I actually heard that it was about 20 years is because of Lethal Weapon 2 or 3, because they're protesting up South Africa or whatever. And Danny Glover goes into the embassy and he says he wants to go to South Africa, and the guy's like, "But you're a cat." Like, I don't know. I like Lethal Weapon. That's why I remember, because that movie came out in the early 90s.
Huh. Yeah, if you had asked me when, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking of when Nelson Mandela went to prison, which was like the 70s or something. But funny story, somebody made a video about the topic of discussion, the South Africa issues, and basically the reason that people celebrate and venerate Nelson Mandela like he's some kind of great Nobel Prize worthy kind of person, and the simple fact of the issue is he was just as racist as the current ANC government. In fact, the reason he went to prison in the first place was for promoting violence. Guess who against?
The white South African farmers, I'm sure.
Who would have guessed? You get $1.
Well, link to my Patreon is no kidding.
And funny story.
Yeah. No, I mean, I want to get Clerical on the show sometime to actually discuss this, because I mean, that's his home country. That's where he lives. So who would be better to discuss this than him? But I haven't been able to. Conscious Clerical.
Oh yeah, we should. I mean, I hope he didn't, get the axe.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's probably a reason he's not responding.
Oh, he was posting stuff on Twitter. He's still alive. But any other anything else on Africa, or should we move on?
We can move on. I don't have much else to say.
All right. I have an article out of the Cato, a libertarian leaning organization, and it is talking about, while everyone focuses on opioids, related deaths are on the rise. Speaking to an audience in New Hampshire this week, President Trump announced a redoubling of the nation's efforts to confront the opioid overdose crisis plaguing the country. Lost in all the anguish over rising deaths from heroin and fentanyl is the fact that a golden oldie for substance abusers is making a comeback. In February, the Oregon Health Authority reported methamphetamine-related deaths in 2016 exceeded those during the peak of the meth crisis in the early 2000s. The death attributed to methamphetamine rose from 51 in 2012 to 141 in 2016. By comparison, deaths in Oregon from heroin and fentanyl overdoses dropped during that same period. The surge in methamphetamine-related deaths is not unique to Oregon. It has been an underreported phenomenon affecting the entire country for several years now. This should surprise no one. Prohibition never shuts down a market for a substance or activity. It merely drives it underground and makes it more dangerous in the process. The war on meth is merely one of the many fronts on which the larger war on drugs is being waged. Yeah, so this is a opinion piece. But I mean, if that's true and methamphetamine related deaths is surging while heroin deaths are dropping, that is really really quite damning, considering it's really hard to OD on methamphetamine, to be honest. It's really not that easy compared to heroin. So
well,
I just think it's
comparatively to heroin, yeah. In general, it's not as hard as it's not super hard.
If you do too much of anything, it's typically a bad thing.
Yeah, I would say the meth-related deaths would be attributed to IV needle users, intravenous needle usage, OD on it and actually pop their heart. You could also do that with cocaine. But that compared to the amount of heroin it takes to get you high compared to what it takes to kill you, that is a relatively small margin, And if you're an addict, how likely are you to stay within the margin of error?
Well, that's one of the issues, and one of the things is because I have had certain folks that literally have died from heroin overdoses. But one of the big things is just because, like any drug, folks typically start to become more tolerant of it. So you need more and more to reach the same level which you were. So eventually you end up chasing a high to the point where you do so much that your body just can't take it and you just cease to be. And one of the big things with heroin more recently in the past few years has been the increase in fentanyl, which basically a tiny bit of that. And like, even if they're using that to kind of just heighten some of the effects while doing it for a cheaper, here's the thing, it's not pharmaceutical grade, it's not evenly distributed. So even if you're taking everything, you get too much of that and you're just done.
Yeah, Memes is actually pretty spot on with that, because the actual uptick from deaths related to opioids has been the introduction of fentanyl in the general supply chain, because people will actually cut heroin with fentanyl to give you that extra pop, that extra kick from the drug itself, but also because it's cheaper and easier to acquire generally.
Oh, well, you died.
What?
Hello?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Is Mad Dodge alive? Oh, I think Mad Dodge dropped off.
Uh-oh. Isn't he hosting?
No,
his mic's muted.
So.
Wait. Is it Hurricane Libertarian riling things up? No, excuse me, that'd be a typhoon. Cyclone?
Gosh, I haven't really found anything good.
It's all right, folks. The Redeye will be right back after these messages. Quick, somebody play a song.
Are you tired of eating Tide Pods?
Yeah, snort condoms instead.
What the hell are you talking about? I popped in on YouTube to check it out for a second. I heard something about condom snorting. What the fuck is up with that?
It's been going more mainstream recently. It's been around for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently you snort it up your nose and then you drag it out your mouth. It's pretty fucking degenerate and nasty.
Oh, people have been doing that with, I remember kids doing that with freaking earthworms when I was a kid.
Oh, dude, and spaghetti and shit. Anything that's long that you can kind of just pull out your nose or mouth.
Yeah, it's called horking.
Horking, that's disgusting. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's just as disgusting as it sounds.
Oh, it's just a retro thing then we're bringing back. Yeah.
It's like a neat party trick. It's like being able to rip an apple in half.
Well, it's like Hungry Hippos. You see the commercials for them every 4 to 5 years to hit the next generation.
Basically, yeah.
I like
to remind you that it
Hippos.
exists.
No, it's like the M&Ms when Santa sees them. He does exist. They do exist.
Yeah.
All right, my internet went all screwy. Where did I cut out?
Well, we said
okay.
you'd be right back after these messages.
We were talking about meth.
Well,
How awesome it is.
no, I don't think those words ever came out of my mouth. But what I was trying to say is it's a byproduct of the war on drugs that these dealers are cutting the drugs with other substances, is it not? I mean, in a war on drugs, you would get a pure product that is safer for consumption.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, if everybody had access to clean pharmaceutical grade drugs, I mean, that's the preferable situation to having an underground illegal market from me and my perspective. But, you know, the alternative, ideally for me, nobody would do drugs and it wouldn't be an issue. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely like to give treatment a try. You know, it might not work. You know, I don't know what's going to work because we're a far different country than any of the other countries that actually try out
People
treatment.
can change, but they typically have to want to change, Woody.
Yeah, I understand. I just, you know, you can, but there is the fact that you can by chance instill the want to change in someone. You know, how about instead of doing meth, you just pray to Jesus or something, you know? Something.
Or you just change the culture. Like, I mean, that's the way with smoking. I mean, cigarette use among youth and stuff is down dramatically just because it got uncool.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. Yeah, but now everybody's using those stupid vape things that can explode in your face.
Well, and they might be worse for you in the long run since we only have so much data. Well, to be fair, that's actually how I learned to smoke.
Vapes?
I may be the one person that ever started smoking by starting vaping.
Really?
Huh.
Really?
And then you moved up to, like,
outta
cigarettes?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny because I went down from like straight no filter tobacco, like in a pipe, to smoking vapes, and I can't say I feel like amazing, but I mean I don't know, I do feel a lot better.
Pipe weed's cool.
How did that progress? Did you like start hitting on a vape and you're like, oh man, this is really fucking gay. I think I want to suck a dick, and then you're like, wait a second, no, cigarettes, much better.
Well, to be fair, like I actually quit smoking by going on the vape, and then I realized and actually looked at like some American Society of Doctors, their 10-year study that says we don't necessarily know if it's worse for you, but you are putting moisture in your lungs, and the only real consequences they saw for about a 10-year study was that if you get sick, you will be sick for longer because you have moisture. Whereas cigarettes, I mean, anytime you're putting smoke in your lungs, that's just inherently bad, but it's just we do actually have studies on cigarette use.
Yeah, the only thing. Oh, go on.
I was gonna say I respect that decision more than the people who, you know, just fucking. It's just going from one vice to another. But I mean,
well, that's all it is. You're just trading an addiction.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like my other issue with it is like I'll be sitting around a lunch table, and people will have their fucking douche flutes out, and they'll be blowing these giant fucking clouds of shit.
It will go the same way as tobacco, man. They'll just ban it from inside. They've already started to do that here in the Commonwealth.
Oh yeah, no, I don't care either way. I'm not, you know, I used to smoke for a couple of years myself, but you know, I'm not like one of those people that gets militant about it. But my thing is, it's like it's never like a super manly flavor of anything. It's always like grandma's pound cake or like freshly tickled scrotum or something, you know.
Well, you can get the traditional things that will equate over to a cigarette brand, and I've done that. But let's face it, dude, you can get fucking tutti fruity strawberry and stuff. Why the hell not? It's delicious.
Dude, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying,
and it gives you all as much nicotine as you want. You blend it. It's not like cigarettes where it's like, all right, if you want to hack up a lung immediately, you get a fucking Lucky Strike, no filter. Like you know what you were getting.
Whatever, we're poor as fuck over here. I get fucking rolling papers and pipe tobacco, motherfucker.
Dude, no,
wow.
That's man.
Damn fucking right,
that
dude. Save so much money, and you know what you're putting in. Less chemicals.
Yeah. It's fucking, I used to do that for a while. It's good shit.
But the only time I've ever used a vape pen or whatever is when THC is in it. I don't know. I'm not into the vaping thing.
That's actually the best way to do it, just because then you're, well, technically eating it would be, but yeah, you're not putting smoke in your lungs.
I mean, if you could just eat marijuana straight off the fucking plant, I think that would be the best situation overall. But
you need a bond with the THC or the other cannabinoids via oil or fat-based product. Typically
Fun fact for anybody listening: you can actually take it, grind it up, and then put it on like a couple graham crackers with some peanut butter in the center, and make a sandwich out of that. Heat it up for about 5 minutes at 350. There you go.
That literally is the quickest way to do it. It's not the most efficient, but yeah, no, the fat from the peanut butter and everything in the oven, that will actually help bond with the fat and the peanuts.
Yep. I used to be 15.
I actually never tried that. I took a whole bunch of old vape weed before and threw it in like 350-degree boiling oil, and that didn't go well.
Oh, did you use it out of like one of those wooden boxes?
Yes.
Like that? Yeah, yes. The magic
my big jar. I had that and may or may not have acquired a volcano at some point.
The college freshman starter kit.
No, dude, I saved freaking $720 on blinds at my place. That was the most logical thing to purchase. Hey, MC, bring us back into reality.
You're asking for the wrong thing from the wrong person.
Well, MC, I just want to go. We'll go backwards real quick because I want your thoughts on a story we just covered. So in Libya, they're selling slaves for as low as $400. When are you going to plan your trip to Libya to buy a couple slaves?
I'm not on my way to Libya anytime soon. Thank you very much.
Not even for slaves?
Not even for slaves.
What if they had like a BOGO sale or something, you know?
Oh god, have them out front like at like they do at like the dollar store or something like that. Here, here's some shitty fruit that you may or may not want to eat.
Okay, if you purchase a slave, right, the first thing that you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to feed and clothe them. All right,
but let's face it, that's all optional.
Well, not if you want to keep them alive, in which case, if you don't care about keeping them alive, what the hell's the point of purchasing the slave?
Because you can.
40, I think you do much better with a sex robot. Let's face it, for your purposes.
Honestly,
aside from human cruelty, and
I'll be 100% upfront. I'm not really big into misogyny, but I used to date a black girl who was from Africa, and she was smoking hot. Like once in a lifetime.
Well, right, but she's not $400 at a Libyan slave market. You know, that's some.
Dude, she had expensive taste. $400 compared to what I spent dating her was a bargain.
Yeah, but the girls down there, that's the equivalent of like a $2 hooker in California.
Yeah, but I mean,
California's taxes are too high. You're not going to find that.
You own them though. Like that's the thing. It's like more like, and I'd treat them fucking great too. I wouldn't like. I'd be like, no, I own you, but like, do it feels good.
Yeah, once a week you are allowed to eat cereal.
Wouldn't it be nice if Libya didn't have slaves?
Would it be nice if some Libyan Abraham Lincoln just split the whole country into a massive civil war to end slavery?
Oh god, here we go.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Well, or we didn't have some dude shoot Gaddafi in the head with a golden gun.
And then sodomize him repeatedly with bayonets.
Wait, was it the golden gun off of James Bond, the old Nintendo 64 game?
I remember being on CNN, Muammar Gaddafi killed by man with golden gun.
I mean, let's face it, if you had to go out, I'd want to get shot by a guy with a golden gun, not gonna lie.
That's like a $600 shot right there.
Yeah.
Well, it was a golden gun, not a golden bullet.
So basically, he had a golden gun, all right, that was worth more than the slave he could have used to have him killed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on. Okay, so you got Gaddafi, you die by golden gun, and then you got Saddam, a cheap-ass rope in a back alley of Iraq. Which way would you want to go out?
He was Saddam Hussein, president of Iraq, and he was willing to negotiate.
I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference, does it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to die either way. I mean, personally, I'd like to die, after eating, 1,000 pancakes or something, but that's not going to happen.
Really? No, dude, your stomach would hurt so much. Think of a better way. So what's everyone's top way to go?
15 pounds of bacon, 3 bottles of 20-year-old scotch, and a shattered pelvis from fucking too hard. There we go. Internally.
There we are.
How about
Yeah. I think Tyrion gave the best answer. How do you want to die, half man? I want to die 85 in my bed with a woman's mouth around my cock. That was the best answer I've ever heard.
Yeah, jokes on you though. It doesn't. Your cock doesn't work. You're 85.
No, we got pills for that. Oh, good.
There's an app for that.
I don't know. If I was gonna kill myself, what I would do is I'd hang myself with razor wire, like concertina wire, and I'd super glue my hands to my head, so that way it looks like I ripped my own head off.
But your hands would get cut.
I don't know. Hey man, I didn't plan this all out yet. I just came up with a funny idea.
Yo,
well,
that's
fucking. Like you're gonna set up like the game of Mousetrap or something.
Yeah, or something.
Like
something really like a Rube Goldberg machine of just suicide.
Oh, I mean, you could do that. That sounds like the movie Saw.
What about the suicide booth on Futurama? That's pretty inventive.
Oh gosh, that fucking that wild contraption they invent to kill the professor. That's how I want to die. Some fucking mousetrap shit, dude. That's some good stuff.
Where they basically sit up there and put a drop of poison on each one of the blades.
yeah. You guys.
The blades might not have been good enough.
Yeah, I'll have you guys put the poison on the blades. Good stuff.
That way they're all responsible for the murder.
One drop poison, one drop antidote. Poison, antidote. Poison, antidote. Oh wait, that was prolonged suffering.
All because he's going to be turned into a Yeti, which he turns into anyway.
Oh.
Speaking of mystical creatures, did you guys have a good zombie Jesus day yesterday?
No, I actually totally fucking forgot that it was Easter the other day. I showed up to work and they were just like, "Yeah, we're closed," and I was like, "All right, cool."
Noob.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't had a Cadbury cream egg yet. I'm a little sad, but I'm actually okay with it. I feel better.
I didn't get any Cadbury eggs either. Why?
No, they were.
Cadbury eggs are
fatties.
Cadbury eggs are bad.
You had a bad experience, didn't you?
At least they don't have the. At least they don't try to kill you like the ones in England with the toy inside that you swallow and die. Yeah.
There's something about
Darwinism.
The chocolate mixed with the richness of the sugar. Yeah, I just want the sugar. That's why I love Peeps. My pleasure is Peeps.
Yes.
Wait, MC. This is a very important question. Do you let them go stale?
I will eat them however they come.
Fair enough.
You know what's funny?
No, but if you leave it open for a day or so, they go kind of stale, so they're chewy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
And if you put them in the microwave, they'll puff up a little bit, so you got to be careful.
Yeah.
It's like Peepzilla.
That frustrates me because I've never met anyone else that likes Peeps, and my girlfriend gives me shit for it all the time. I'll go to get some at the dollar store, and she's like, "Oh, you getting nasty Peeps?" Yeah.
The only kind of Peeps that I found absolutely disgusting were my daughter one time found these like raspberry tasting Peeps, and they are just horrible.
Yeah,
I love raspberry, but for some reason I'm imagining cough syrup.
It's unimaginable. It's one thing to have like it's one thing to have the like a flavor to it, but you don't want to just be. I mean, it was they overdid the flavor. They were way too strong, right? It just buried the whole Peep experience. It was.
They didn't pull a Doritos and actually research the shit out of that flavor.
No.
The peep experience. It's an experience to eat the peeps.
It is an experience to eat peeps, and you gotta learn how to eat them right, or otherwise you'll get that sugar candy all over yourself, and it'll get in your pants, it'll get in your neck.
MC is a child engineer.
There's priorities to things. You got to be able to eat them right. It's the peep experience. But Cadbury eggs are just, there's something about the chocolate.
Well, it's the same thing. You got to eat it right, man. You got to eat it right. You just bite the tip off lightly. You savor the chocolate, and then you slowly dissect the entire thing. Yes, it became a very sensual thing I just described.
I was about to say, it sounded oddly sexual.
Am I the only one that lights peeps on fire like fucking, I don't know,
Jesus
a
Christ.
giant fucking campfire marshmallow or something?
No. Well, no. To be fair, my dad used to do that. He used to burn the marshmallow, but then he liked eating it like with the burnt stuff on the outside. I just wasn't a fan of the burnt stuff.
God, you people are monsters.
It's oddly satisfying to burn something that looks like a little bunny or a little duck. Just burn the crap out of it. Or is that just me?
Mad Dodge, you are now realizing that they're probably going to put together a new thing on there that says that your sanity is a little bit wavering, so therefore we must take away your guns.
Yeah.
Oh, because I light peeps on fire?
He murdered a peep. It's just one step away from the puppy, and the next thing you know, he's just killing a school.
So, no, MC, you bring up a good point. Somebody should actually write an article about that. Mad Dodge, you should actually make that video. Somebody should write a counter article basically proposing what MC just said and promote the shit out of it and just see where the debate goes. Because let's face it, if all of a sudden you go to that, at that point, it's like, okay, you're pretty much going to say that anybody in America that's on any type of prescription pill is going to have to give up their guns. Because that's essentially the argument that you're going to be making at that point. And at that point, I think a lot of folks will say either give up all drugs, like we were just discussing a little bit earlier, or be like, fuck that shit.
Good old Matt in the chat. Peep aside. I like that.
That name hurts my soul.
Good stuff.
Peeps were created for one purpose and one purpose only: to be devoured by people who love them. Lovingly and quickly, I might add.
And just to make everybody else on the panel who's already thinking I'm a weirdo, pineapple does belong on pizza, damn it.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, and then it needs to be thrown off a cliff.
It can vacation.
Oh, God. I don't mind. I genuinely fucking enjoy Hawaiian pizza. I like it quite a bit.
Well, it's good. I just don't want it all the time. That's why I said it's a good place for it to vacation.
One more reason to make sure you don't get outside the wall.
No, well, joke's on you. One of us was already outside it. Like AIDS, it's going to spread.
It's not like we can't use the catapult to send him back.
What, no trebuchet?
Trebuchet, catapult, same diff.
Well, actually, wasn't the trebuchet banned from California?
It's not going to be. It's not going to be on the California side. It's going to be throwing it back into it.
Oh, well, you got plenty of room then.
Are trebuchets legitimately banned in California? This is bugging the shit out of me.
I don't know. I think I saw somewhere that somebody was banning trebuchets. I could see it being California, and that makes me very sad because I made trebuchets like my freshman or sophomore year in high school.
People used to make frickin' catapults when they were frickin' 4 and 5 years old out of Lincoln logs.
Well, yeah, some kids do it by my house, and they launch rocks towards it, and I have to give them stern looks occasionally.
Oh, you're tough. Stern looks. They're fucking launching rocks at your house like the Mongol hordes. And
well, they're not getting that far. They're little kids.
It sounds like the Huns to me. You need to freaking get a neighborhood watch or some shit.
I've come into the realization that a lot of the cars backfiring at 2 to 3 in the morning Once it backfired about 10 times in a row consistently, and there were police sweeping the neighborhood, I don't think there as many cars backfiring as I originally thought.
Wow. I won't be visiting you anytime soon.
Well, I'm going to be moving soon. It's okay.
Started with murdering peeps.
Okay, thank God. Trebuchets are not banned in the state
I
of
see what
California.
you did there, MC. I understand. It is sad, though.
So you can build a trebuchet outside your house at 40?
Yes, you can. And then they will ban it because it's California.
Well, you guys can't have guns. I mean, you got to have a trebuchet to defend your castle with, right?
One can hope.
Wait, it's California. You can get crocodiles.
Crocodiles?
There's no crocodiles in California. Where the fuck did that come from?
Well, he has a moat around his castle. Duh.
Oh. Oh, okay.
This is not a Warner Brothers cartoon, and I don't think he's Yosemite Sam.
Hey, cut it, wacko.
Shouldn't have took that left turn at Albuquerque.
Hey, just subscribe to Acme GPS.
All right. Let's get back on track. We're obviously done with the drug conversation. Teen disabled on a dare after he swallowed a slug. Okay. Sam Ballard, who has been profoundly disabled since swallowing a garden slug at a party as a dare at 19, has an amazing support group of family and friends in Australia. Sam became a quadriplegic and has to be tube fed after contracting rat lungworm from the backyard slug in 2010. Wow. Okay. On Sunday evening, his friends Jimmy Galvin and Michael Shasby appeared on Sunday Project alongside his mom, Katie, to discuss how the 28-year-old's life changed after that night. We were sitting over here having a bit of red wine appreciation night, trying to act as grown-ups, and a slug came crawling across here. The conversation came up. Should I eat it? Off Sam went. Bang. That's how it happened. God damn it.
I love how they had to mention that he is profoundly disabled. Could I don't know. That's just
the fact that you have to be fed by a tube should kind of indicate that.
Yeah.
And this guy was a rugby player and shit, and he was 19 years old. What 19-year-old thinks?
He's like the most unluckiest dude in the world.
Well, I'm having this red wine. It tastes good, but you know what's missing? A slimy ass slug to wash it down with.
You're saying when you're 19, drunk with a bunch of buddies, a slug just randomly comes gliding across. Someone's not gonna say, "I bet you won't eat that."
First off,
I double dog dare you.
Me and my friends drank beer or whiskey like normal teenagers.
That's why I said when drunk, not drinking red wine. I was giving you a near equivalent to you scenario.
Yeah, and that lungworm thing, it goes on a little bit later in the article to say that it's really carried by rats or some shit. But if the slug crawls across where the rat is, it can get the worm. And so that's how the worm was in the slug, and then it attacked his brain. That's pretty gnarly.
It created a type of encephalitis, which is a swelling of the brain tissue. And of course, when the brain swells, damage can happen very quickly, and it can be quite extensive.
What are the chances of that scenario happening though? Like this exact scenario?
I was about to say that is quite a stroke of unluck.
I don't know. I don't know. Let me point out the fact that in Australia, everything wants to fucking kill you. And he was in Australia. I wouldn't be eating even a slug, all right? I don't trust anything from that godforsaken fucking place.
He's 19. Yeah.
He survived up to 19. He figures he's invulnerable. I mean, but the thing is People have heard of meningitis. Meningitis can cause encephalitis or brain swelling. All right, so these things can happen. All right, I mean there's limited things that can be done in those cases, and if it gets too severe and they can't relieve the pressure on the brain, I mean,
Oh
these are
no,
the
it
things that can be
happens. No, dude, I know. I remember cases up in maybe not in my direct area, but when you hear about, was it bacterial? Is that like the actual contagious one? It's either bacterial or viral meningitis. Like, I'll hear about that, but it's like you said, man. It typically is quite rare statistically.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't think too many people would normally think about catching a slug. I'm sure slugs get eaten all the time. I mean, what do you think escargot is?
Snails.
Okay, well, not okay. One step removed from a slug. I'm sorry.
Just because rich people will eat fucking fish eggs and snails doesn't mean it should be normalized. All right, I say we shame these rich people.
I think shaming is probably the least thing on this kid's mind at this point, if anything at all.
Dude, how's the kid doing? Like, is he getting help?
Oh no,
yeah.
he's totally vegetized.
Well, I know, but he's surviving. People are supporting him. Are they trying to do anything to, like? Is there any way to, like, help him out?
Well, I'll continue here a little bit. All right, so the worm is found. Keep salt away from him. The worm is found in rodents, but snails or slugs can become infected when they eat the feces of rats that carry the parasite. So they have to actually eat the feces. So not only did he eat a slug, but he ate a slug that loved rat droppings. That's pretty gross. While most people develop no symptoms, very rarely it causes an infection of the brain. Sam contracted esophageal meningo, whatever, what MC said. From which many people recover, and initially, at least, Sam seemed to be rallying, but then he lapsed into a coma for, check it out, guys, 420 days.
Eternally stoned.
Yeah.
God
damn. And then he became a quadriplegic. But the Sam of old is still there, his friends say. Seeing where he is now, being able to move his arms or just grip something, that to me is a huge improvement, said another mate, Michael Shasby. Wait, isn't that Michael guy the one that dared him? You should be feeling horrible right now.
Well, I was about to say that guy's probably not invited to any more birthday parties.
Oh, there you go.
And I guess when you walk into the room, Sam can now raise his hand up for a handshake.
Yeah, so he can give that Mike the finger.
Huge.
Yeah. That's what I'd be fucking doing.
So
if you can move your hand, you can pull a trigger.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I'd go through some intense training and invite my friend over who dared me to eat the slug. Beat the shit out of him.
Well, here's a thought, guys. Since we started off the show today with the condom challenge, I say, teenagers of America, here is your challenge if you choose to accept it. I want you to eat as many slugs as you possibly can.
Just don't go to Australia first.
Yeah.
Don't eat slugs, folks. Don't listen to Mad Dodge. Don't eat slugs. You're not 2. You're not 3. And when they stick everything in their mouths.
But MC, the thing is, if there's anyone that stupid that they listen to what Mad Dodge is suggesting, then I'm sorry, it's social Darwinism. You know, we do need to thin out the herd.
True.
No, but then he'll be culpable for indirect homicide.
Nah.
I'm not sure I can get past that for his 2020 campaign.
In America's litigious society, do you think that he wouldn't get sued?
That's right. Just make sure when this gets posted up, you got comedy somewhere in the tags.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's saved Dankula.
Yeah, but you still got the amendments. We haven't got any amendments.
Hey, you leave the pug Fuhrer out of this, all right?
I thought it was
It just
Stasi
goes from bad to
dog.
worse.
You thought it was Stasi McHitler dog? Is that what you said?
That's what somebody said on the internet.
All right. We have another story which is pretty good. I'll pull it up here in a second, but I remember the headliner right off the top of my head. So, Cabbage, your great city of London, it's number one. It's number one, buddy. Number one in murder. It fucking overtook New York, dude. And you guys have some gun control, so it's all the stabbings going on over there. You guys are all stab happy and trucks apiece. What's
I'm
up
not
with that
selling
shit?
you guys any knives.
Well, every major metropolis, and then you add in a whole bunch of social conflictions with these, especially with the immigration, and then what do you expect? It's bound to go tits up, isn't it? Really? Well, you got, and plus, don't forget, I think London. I think the last number was 52% of people associated as being white or were classified as white British. So you've got 52% identified as not white British. So it shows you what happens when you bring barbarians into the gates, doesn't it?
So blunt about it.
Could any of it be due to Brexit and maybe disagreements over that? I'm just curious.
Well, no, and Cabbage,
and Cabbage, day-to-day shit.
These barbarians didn't even need to build a fancy horse. You guys just shipped them on in.
That's right. We built them the fucking horse.
Well, is it what's it from? Like, is it like a lot of pub fights, or like what's the breakdown of the classification?
I don't know. It's a statistic I haven't heard. I haven't seen the details of, but it doesn't surprise me one iota that it is the case. I hate London.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we're generally tending towards a particular assumption of these statistics. I'm just curious what the actual breakdown is.
Well, murder is extremely small in the UK, generally speaking, anyway. So when you get somebody crashing a truck into a bunch of people and going crazy with, knives, shouting Allah Akbar, they're going to contribute massively to the overall statistics. You know what I mean? Relatively.
Sounds like an excuse to me.
What? Allah? Allah is not an excuse.
Murder rate overtakes New York's.
I was certainly saying
Spike
something.
in violent crime in London saw more murders committed in the city in February and March than there were in New York, figures show. Oh, this year?
Yeah, so it's going to be per head of populace. Well, no, it can't be, because the Office of National Statistics, it never has the current year's figures anywhere. They're always about fucking 3 years late. That's why they can't respond to anything, because the only time they realize there's a problem, it's already 3 years on, and it's a catastrophe. That's how it generally works.
New York's still ahead by 4.
Yeah, and let's be fair. London edged out New York by 1, I think it says in this article. In March, London had 22 murders, slightly more than the 21 in New York. So, I mean, it's neck and neck. You guys are holding your own when it comes to killing people.
Well, I know, like you say, is it us as in terms of the indigenous population, or is it the recent acquisitions that are doing it? I mean, I think
humans. What's wrong with us?
The problem
religion is wrong with us.
The problem is the lack of efficiency between in the New York population. I mean, the whole purpose of guns is to be able to kill efficiently, and obviously they're falling down on the job.
Absolutely. See, it shows that we.
Yeah, well,
we get that. We get the job done even without the tools.
Can Scottish police help stop violent deaths in London? Scottish police? What the heck is this?
Well, and the thing is that the ABC also published an article, like the very same news site also published an article on January 5th, saying that New York City's record fewest murders and lowest crime in decades. So, I mean, in all fairness, it has stooped a bit. It's probably why they caught up.
Well, even so, it doesn't. It's sickening, and it definitely has something to do with the social demographics. I mean, if you're going to do a correlation coefficient and you put the statistics through, I'm pretty sure that it would indicate that the our new diversity programs have been directly related to those figures.
Well, actually, according to this article, it's actually reading into it. It's basically when it says Scottish police helped reduce the rate in London, they're actually talking about the spike back in
harassing people on
2005, where they had 137 murders in Scotland, which was the highest number of homicides in almost a decade. What they did is they set up a violence reduction unit, or VRU, in 2005. And then by viewing violence as a disease, its goal was to diagnose the problem and treat its cause, adopting a so-called public health approach, which saw officers working with teachers, social and health workers to collate and share knowledge of people involved in gangs.
All right, that's what it'd be about, harassing people on Instagram.
Well, I mean, are they murdering people?
Yes,
people on Instagram? Probably.
Well, I mean, you should stop murders then. That's a good thing, right?
Stop Instagram. That'd be a start.
But it's pretty, but I don't really use it, though, so... Yeah.
Well, Facebook, Instagram, it was only an example of media, social media.
Well, it's the same thing.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's a sad tale, though. It really is, that we've ended up in that position. We've always prided ourselves in, in the fact that we don't have the murders. We have plenty of, violence, but not so many murders.
Yeah, if you're not going to have a Second Amendment, man, you shouldn't be a lot of people dying.
No, that's it. Although there was a big spike again. You see, once again, I say this correlation with the diversity stuff. When the European Union was expanded to include a lot of the Eastern European countries, there was a massive increase in gun crime that happened from that because, open borders, they could ship across guns that had never existed here. So it made it very easy for a lot of gun trafficking.
Well, it's not like you have a non-leaking tunnel that people could just drive through.
Well, there's another disaster that was, an unintended consequence. Yeah, that should never have been built. I was against that from the beginning. Bloody stupid
Wait, does
idea.
your tunnel leak?
Well, yeah, it's always leaking. It's never fully sealed.
We really are New England.
Well, the same thing with the tunnel that goes underneath the Thames. That's always leaked. They all leak. Water pressure's too high. Water always finds a way through.
Yeah, that's true. Mother Nature
As
always
far as I'm
finds a way.
concerned, we should a couple of depth charges and flood the bloody thing. Use it for scuba diver training or something like that.
Wait a minute. You want to destroy the roads? Cabbage.
No, not the roads. It's the rail. This is rails, mate.
Oh, it's the tunnel. It's infrastructure. It counts.
Infrastructure?
Yo,
Dude, you can compete with InfoWars now. Just name it infrastructure. You will garner such a libertarian base there.
That's right. That was an accident, but whatever. Fuck off.
Happy accident.
Fucking infrastructure.
No, he tried to be a smart ass about roads, not realizing it was rail, and his head just.
Mad Dodge, you have the right to Urban Dictionary infrastructure.
No, dude, I was about to say, right? You wanna call something infrastructure? Call like a mainstream media. You should start calling that infrastructure. the infrastructure of George Soros or something.
Ooh,
that's
ooh.
Yeah,
that could be a very sticky term.
Or TYT. Well, yeah, you could definitely throw it at pretty much anyone, couldn't you?
Could be a new meme.
Yeah, you need to write that shit down.
No, dude, just put like a broadcast tower, like modern infrastructure, and then you just put whatever networks you want and stuff. Oh God, that might be.
Just write a paper with all the buzzword bingo that you can find. Okay. And then you include the term infrastructure, right? And then take it to some stupid frickin' lefty college professor and go, look at this paper. What are you gonna think about this? And let them frickin' talk about it. Next thing you know, it'll be around the frickin' country.
Okay, sorry, but it's already defined. There's a place called infrastructure.net that actually exists too.
Well, that's a company. We can purchase them.
Customer center infrastructure. Yeah, it's even a Wikipedia page for infrastructure. So I'm sorry, mate.
Really?
It already exists.
Oh.
Well, liberalists existed anyway. But
infrastructure is the fundamental facilities and systems serving a country, city, or other area, including the services, facilities, blah 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 blah. So
Oh,
Gay.
It's already been
you used
coined.
a real word, man. That was very appropriate.
Well done, mate.
Leave it to the British to pop our fucking American bubbles.
Hey, who said that it was us that coined the phrase? Fuck you, dick.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, Cabbage. So, have you guys Brexited yet?
No, have we? Fuck. No.
Lol, like that's gonna happen.
Fucking bitch, mate.
To be fair, Mad Dodge, you're only 2 years behind.
Oh, well, that means I'm like right on time then, because here in Oregon we do everything a couple years behind.
Yeah, that's right. You guys still have DSL. I'm sorry.
You still have dancing laws, don't you?
Oh god, that's our
Dancing laws. You can't do the hokey pokey on Saturdays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're not allowed to turn yourself about.
Gotta leave enough room
That's
for
what it's all
Jesus.
about.
That was actually a thing when I was going to fucking Mormon church. I was stupid.
Oh, you're a Mormon? Cool.
No, no, I have family that are Mormon,
You didn't
and
like the plates?
they made me go to Mormon church, and it was
Oh,
not fun.
they forced it on you.
Yeah.
And you were too weak-willed to resist.
What would you have been all
I
right
was a
with
kid.
it if it wasn't shoved down your throat?
Oh fuck no! You realize? Oh my gosh! No, right? I have.
Wasn't
hold
cool
on.
at all? Come on.
No, here's the thing, right? It was cool in the fact that it was
Get a
borderline
coffee, I gotta-
comedic. No, I'm serious, right? Like when you die, Jesus gives you your own world to live in.
Yeah, your own
Like,
planet.
Yeah,
What's-
it gives
with
you.
all
What's
your-
wrong with that?
your
That sounds
chips.
pretty good.
It's just I don't know. It takes heaven, right, and it blows it into proportion. It's like the Mormons tried to one up the Catholics or something like that.
Oh no, it's
like-
pure science fiction, mate. Don't forget. You
No,
know,
I
like
know.
No
they,
people
they
would
came
ever
to
write stories to one up another.
Jesus and Satan came down to Earth and they landed in volcanoes. I mean, it's fucking nonsense. It's like some really poor attempt at a Gene Roddenberry
which one?
story.
Which
Yeah.
one?
That's what the Mormons believe, is that
What?
Satan and Jesus were sent down from the planet Kolob, right? And the idea was that they were going to pitch each other against, who is going to get the most, people.
So
on
they
this,
were
they're
hitting
buying
How many
souls.
followers they could get?
Exactly, the souls they could capture.
So who's
whatever.
winning?
I don't know. I haven't seen the
Well-
scorecard.
Well, I just want to know
We're basing
how.
this on follower count. PewDiePie's winning right now.
Well, I want to know exactly how do you lose these giant gold tablet things that he had, and they just like disappeared, right?
Well, I mean,
because the angel took him away with her when she left.
Well, we got to have something to search for, right?
Kleptomaniac angels.
not really. I mean, no one. If you follow the story closely, technically, when he was transcribing the Book of Mormon, no one ever saw the golden tablets. It was something he carried around in like a satchel or something. He'd be like, "All right, I'm gonna transcribe it now. Everyone, go into the next room. I'm gonna, do my
He
thing."
had a bag of holding.
Yeah.
That would be sweet.
I mean, it's just.
I know they used to use crystals and everything. What do they call it? Scribing? Is it?
He was holding all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, dude, D&D, a bag of holding. You fit like an entire universe in there. You put all your shit.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I mean,
essential for any rogue.
Well, actually, no. That's the funny part is that I wanted to know because Joseph Smith is an actual like historical figure, and so when I went digging about and to see like what this Joseph Smith guy was about, it turns out Joseph Smith was like a notorious fucking con man.
Yeah,
And
he was a storyteller.
No, he was like a con man. He was a fucking
Yeah.
thief.
Well, he
Like,
got kicked out of
what'd he
3
do?
different cities, didn't he?
Yeah. People legit chase this dude out of cities because you'd fucking con people all the time.
Well, what was his con?
Mormonism.
I have these golden
Wait,
tablets
wait.
here, memes.
So
Give me some
what
money.
you're saying is some dude came preaching religion and folks they didn't like it, so they chased him out of town.
Well, no. When he first started,
That's
before
never
the-
happened in history before.
No, but before the Mormon Church was created, he was a con man. He got kicked out of the first city. I think it was Boston or somewhere, wasn't it?
Well,
And then he ended up
why?
I think it was in Florida, wasn't he?
No, it's New York, I believe. Well,
Yeah.
they began in.
But they ended up down somewhere in Florida, and they had to go across, and then they went up into Utah, didn't they?
Yeah. But Beams, to answer your question, he was like a notorious like what would you call that? Like a philanderer
Yeah,
or
no,
like
flim flam.
yeah, he'd sleep around with
There'd
people's
never
wives
be a
and shit,
philanderer
you
that would
know.
rise to power.
Yeah, no, never.
Well, that's the thing as well. He did polygamy, and he promoted polygamy.
That
He
sounds
got
like
kicked out for a lot of reasons.
a way to attract people in, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Well,
Maybe.
he worked in Waker.
I mean, some
Well,
folks may
Which is
see that as
Heaven's
a
Gate.
positive. I don't know.
I don't know, Jim Jones, Heaven's Gate. I mean,
think-
it seems to be a common thread.
I think it was in 1973 or 75 when the state of Missouri finally repealed on their books that you couldn't just shoot a Mormon on sight.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you have to talk to them and find out for sure that they're a Mormon first, right? And that way you don't kill any Jehovah's Witnesses.
I don't know, but it was on the books. I think it was Missouri. It had it on the books till 1975 that if you saw a Mormon, you could shoot them. It was like I don't know if they had tags or
Thank you.
I think that was an old law that some oversight. Nobody was like, "Oh yeah, we probably should delete this."
It's year-round
God.
open season on Jehovah's Witnesses.
I was about to say that's fucking hilarious. Like, all right, get your tags for Mormon season. Like, oh my god.
No, it's duck season.
For you Mormon tax. Well, that'd be
Wabbit
tidings,
season.
though, wouldn't it?
Wabbit season.
Wait, but if that was a
Duck
law,
season.
though, why are they so brazen? They just walk up on your freaking doorstep and knock. Don't you think they'd be worried
No,
about
those are the
getting
Jehovah's
shot?
Witnesses. Stop misreligioning people.
Oh no, that is the Mormons. That's
Oh, well, maybe
that is-
sometimes.
no.
Oh, no, they
Honestly, I would prefer Jehovah's Witness over fucking Mormons. I'm not even kidding you.
To be fair, I stand corrected because when I first started doing door-to-door sales, I remember a pair of Mormons happened to go up. I saw some of the literature. I knocked on the person's door, took a step back, and said, "I am not a Mormon." It was kind of to break the ice because they had just been visited.
That's great. I'm not a Mormon. I'm here to sell you something. Slap.
Yeah, but so were they. And they were full of shit, too.
We provided blazingly fast internet.
Well, hook me up, dude. My internet fucking sucks.
Well, that's based upon where you live. So I'm sorry, man. You live geographically. You're screwed right now.
Oh,
Might have
it's
to
not
do the whole
fucking
5G
Ozarks.
thing. Unless you got mountains in the way, then you're fucked.
God.
Oh, I saw on Facebook somebody selling a shed, but it's a fucking 2-story freaking solar powered freaking mini house that they're
Dude.
calling sheds. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm not sure how much he's
Oh, it's a
selling
tiny
it for.
house. No,
It
dude,
looked
tiny
like a
houses
fucking-
is like a big market.
Oh, it looked like a fucking perfect studio for me, man. Fucking put that in my backyard. I'll actually use it as a shed and a studio.
Dude,
Like,
one
that'd
of
be
you
sick.
people, like, you'd be surprised, dude. You can have a kitchen. You can actually have a few folks over and stuff. Like, it's
Yeah.
actually pretty crazy what they can do.
And
Yeah,
one
as long as
and
you know
one-
them very well, it's pretty intimate.
and one donor party freaking snowstorm later.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, it's
Well, you
good
just hope
for-
it's not a tornado. Get a
No,
bomb
shit.
shelter.
Well, I
Storm
mean, I
shelter.
don't know. A tiny shed that's
shelter.
good for stowing either kids or
Storm shelter.
Libyan slaves, whichever one.
Hey, you're giving away my secrets. I wasn't going to let everybody know that's where I'm going to hide the slaves or the help.
No, he's actually-
They're the help.
He's
Damn
gonna,
it.
he's gonna bury the house. Then they can't hear the screams.
It puts the lotion on the skin or it gets the hose.
All right. So, human trafficking was 25 minutes ago. Let's, aside from saving Libya, we can move on maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, gosh.
Well, do you want to keep talking about aggressive Mormons?
We went
Oh,
from
poisonous
freaking.
slug.
I thought that was one of the best Broadway films or something.
We
Oh,
went
it is.
from slug swallowing that leaves you freaking a mental vegetable.
Well,
Dude, the kid's getting better. That's actually fucking something.
relative term, though, isn't it?
Well, the story is about how their government just cut their funding for keeping him alive, paying for his medical care.
What is he getting help?
He was getting help, and now they reduced it to $130,000 a year.
Are other folks helping him? I hope.
Well, his family now, according to the article, the family is now $40-something thousand in debt with just the nursing care.
Good
They're
God.
not Mormons, then.
Well, let me tell you, if they joined a Mormon church, they wouldn't be so goddamn in debt.
All right, so I got a story out of Richmond. So I'll throw it in the chat for you guys. There you go. Yeah, Lee Davis High School wanted to change its name, or was thinking about changing its name. And so they put out a call to all the families around in the area. More than 13,000 people responded to the survey. And the comments range from defenses of the Confederacy to the full script of the B movie. More than 13,000 people responded to a Hanover County School Board survey with their reasoning for why the board, which has the power to change school names, should keep or rename Lee Davis High School and Stonewall Jackson Middle School the Rebels. So the mascot for the high school is the Confederates, and the mascot for the middle school is the Rebels. Both are awesome mascots. Like, I wish I lived in Richmond, but a tick over 3 in 4 respondents said the school names and mascots should be kept. Score 1 for the Confederacy. So the survey, which opened in late January and closed in February, asked the public how they feel about the names and several identifying questions, such as county district. It did not ask for their race. 5 of 7 school board members have cited results of the survey as rationale for their planned vote in favor of keeping the names. They will vote in April 10th. So they do have some of the responses here. So this is from Ashland.
This is what is fucking annoying, though, right? You got these stupid, frivolous lawsuits which are chewing up money, I'm sure. State time and things like that. And then you've got schools that can't afford to, give kids the books that they need and stuff like that. Because twats, getting upset about whether or not you should rename this or that, or pull down a statue or whatever.
But that's not why, in the United States, that's not why schools are failing. It has nothing to do with it. And that's
But MC, we have commercials for attorneys.
Yeah, but it's fun. Yeah, but it's funding. I mean, at the end of the day, it's got to go down to the amount of money available. And if people are coming up with this shite, and if any amount of time is being spent on this, it's costing the taxpayer, isn't it?
It's fundamentally.
How many lawsuits like this are there in Europe?
They're wasting. The problem, Cabbage. The problem is that they get enough funding. They really do. The problem is that they waste it. They waste it on programs that people don't need or want. And they pay excessively at exorbitant rates for a lot of these programs. And what's worse is the same people who constantly bitch about how they're underpaid and so forth, especially the teachers unions, are the main driving force behind these ridiculous things because they want.
No, I wasn't really thinking of the pay and the pay scales or whatever. I was thinking more about the facilities and things. I mean, surely there's still money being sucked out the system. Well, again, by those stupid people. Who are making up these frivolous
let me give an example
programs that nobody uses, right? I mean, if something doesn't get used for a year, or has less than 20% usage, then it should be shut down, right?
Yeah, Cabbage. But let me give you an example of something. Here in Arizona, here in Tucson, right? The school district was paying for what they called Latino studies, which were basically studies to Latino studies in high school. And one of the teachers basically came back and said, Republicans hate Latinos. This is how her class was being done. Okay, it wasn't even, and because they didn't have the quote unquote approved teachers, they had to hire others to come in to do the teaching because they themselves didn't have the qualifications. So that the teacher who wasn't qualified, he got to sit in the back or she got to sit in the back while the off campus person came in there to teach these freaking radical leftist classes. This is the kind of crap that goes on. This is where the waste and the fraud comes from. And now our teachers are bitching about, well, we're not paid enough. They're threatening to go on strike. And I'm like, oh, please go on strike. You're not going to get the support from the freaking teacher or from the parents anymore. You've lost that support. And this is why. Because these teachers unions in the United States don't give a rat's ass about their students. All they care about is less work for more money for their own teachers so that they can then get money, all right, in the form of dues that go right into their pockets. They don't care about teaching students. So I don't want to hear hear about this crying about teachers or about how they're not getting paid enough or that there's not enough resources. There's more than enough resources for this crap. If they just sat down and tried to fix it, but they don't, and they're not going to.
It's worrying that these are meant to be the intelligent people, and they're too intelligent to realize that they're actually undermining their own ability to make a pay rise. Because you're saying that one of the reasons that they don't get any support is because of the crazy shit, their own antics in teaching techniques and everything.
Oh, I still remember teachers buying their own supplies for years.
There you go. So, well, they said this goes back 10 years ago, as everyone's blaming it on Trump. But I mean, it's not exactly something that happened overnight, is it?
I just remember the education system. When I started off in third grade, there were like 18 kids a class. And it went to like, as I went up 20, 22, 24. By the time I finished high school, we were usually like 32 to 36 kids in a class.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but in that school, they offered frickin' everything, didn't they?
Oh, they had plenty of shit, absolutely.
Yeah, see, that's what I've been talking about. Instead of focusing on the core curriculum, all right, they start adding, oh, you can do this, and this guy can be designing kites,
I tend to
and this
believe
guy can be
funds could be
designing
much better
buildings.
allocated, absolutely.
And
they
so,
should be.
What do you mean they should be? No, it shouldn't. Not for basic education. This is supposed to be basic
The
education.
funds that are currently being spent shouldn't be better allocated if they're being misallocated?
Oh, no, they should be. I'm sorry,
Oh,
I
okay.
misunderstood what you were saying.
I just remember education's a pretty easy thing to cut, at least when I was growing up. At least up in my neck of the woods.
When you show me an educator that's ever done with less. Show me a teachers union. Show me a teachers union that's ever struck, that's ever gone on strike to fix the working conditions in the school. Show me
what. That's not what they're doing in Oklahoma. Didn't they have a walkout today in Oklahoma of the teachers union?
Okay, and what were they striking for?
Well, I remember seeing interviews with people, and they were saying that the class sizes were too big because they didn't have the right trained people, because people were leaving the schools and not coming back. Teachers were resigning and they couldn't get replacements for them. They didn't have sufficient books for the number of people that they were teaching. I mean, a lot of stuff was about the infrastructure. I mean,
well, maybe,
but
maybe
go ahead.
Well, maybe they would be able to keep their teachers if their female teachers would stop sleeping with the students. All right, and go into prison. Then maybe they can keep their teachers.
Yeah, well, you can't bring in men, obviously, because apparently we all want to rape something as soon as we see it.
My 6th grade teacher was so attractive. It happens.
Beams, you're like, why wouldn't she sleep with her
President
students?
Trump, February 12, 2018. Yeah, he is cutting education department by 5%.
Okay.
Why only 5? Cut it by 100.
Well, I think
eliminate the Department
Actually, no,
of Education.
he already. Yeah, well, he's cutting. Well, Betsy DeVos, I don't think has been doing the best job, at least PR wise.
She's in a no-win situation.
That's true.
All right, I mean, it doesn't matter how
I'm the head of the department that I've agreed to cut. Oh, that's going to look well. Yeah.
She's in a no-win situation, even if she wasn't cutting it. She's in a no-win situation. She's working for a Republican.
Who was that woman who was the head of the EPA? Her whole job was to close it down, basically.
I still think Rick Perry was the best nomination, seeing as it's one of the 3 departments he proposed to cut, and it was the one department that he forgot to mention.
Yeah, he couldn't remember.
That was such a troll, but on paper, he does make a lot of sense.
Well, in order to cut the Department of Energy, you have to realign a lot of things that the Department of Energy actually does do by itself, because people don't realize that the NRC falls under the Department.
Hey, but
Yeah,
MC,
Terry didn't know either.
who could have known these things could be so complicated? Who knew?
Nuclear Regulatory Committee? What? I'm in charge of the nuclear plants in the country. Well, it's the Department of Energy, Rick. Well, that makes sense.
Who could have known it was also, like a complex Western society?
I mean, Rick Perry literally is George Bush on steroids. He's the one dude that I know that ran for president and basically got attacked by a coyote, pulled out his sidearm, and shot the coyote.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I want a president who will put a shooting range in the White House. All right.
I liked Rick Perry. He was kind of goofy.
There is one.
W was.
It was a bowling alley. I bet there is a shooting range.
I don't know if there's one on the White House grounds, but I do believe that there is a shooting range at what's that place? Camp David.
Well, Secret Service has got to keep in training, haven't they?
But they're not going to do it on the White House lawns.
Not on the lawn. I was thinking, like probably in a basement or something.
It might keep fence jumpers away.
That's true. Give them something to think
It might cost more to come. I don't know.
It would be interesting if they did it, but then again, people would be watching. That guy's a bad shot. I might make it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, though, speaking of fence jumpers, remember when that couple snuck into the White House party during the Obama presidency? Has that happened to Trump at all?
Well, one guy got pretty close.
Goings, but then again, that's just because Donald Trump talks to everybody.
Well, but I mean, that one guy did jump the fence and got into the White House. Actually, they got into the White House, which is quite a.
Well,
I don't think he wasn't intending.
MC, we have President Trump now, so he can just release the hounds.
Release the hounds.
Yeah, but jumping the fence and sneaking in is one thing, kind of like the guy that snuck into Queen Elizabeth's bedroom. But
twice.
The family or the couple that snuck into that party with the Obamas, they hung out there. They shook Obama's hand and shit, and they were nowhere on the guest list. I think that was insane.
Wait a second. Was that the same guy that Obama was getting blow for and giving him fellatio?
I do not remember that story.
Oh, no, I think I jumped to a random YouTube thing that somebody was making fun of something that came out. I think it was fake news.
Did you just say that former President Obama sucks dick for coke?
No. What I'm saying is one of his guys back in Chicago had mentioned he wouldn't mind doing some. President Obama, while in the limo, said, "I got you." Pulled out his phone, called the dude up. They got some blow. The guy gave him a blow job. They went about their day the next day. They finished their blow. He got another blow job, and just went on with their lives.
Interesting.
Yeah, sounds very dubious to me.
To be fair, that's probably as likely as President Trump getting a bunch of Russian prostitutes to piss on a bed that President Obama and his wife slept on because he hated them, which I'm not sure. I don't think he hates them, but could I see President Trump potentially doing something like that? Wouldn't necessarily put it past the guy. Not going to judge.
Yeah, I think that was fake news too. Did you want me to read some of these comments that the people sent in about the school? Why to keep the names and why to change them? I can read one real quick.
Yeah, for it.
All right, so out of Ashland, keep. In erasing or replacing the names of these mascots, you erase not simply U.S. history, but Virginia history. I assume that the reasoning behind changing the names is through the Confederacy and in turn slavery. Although slavery was a part of the Confederacy, it did not encompass the majority of the people nor the culture. The South has its own unique culture far apart from slavery, and it should be able to be celebrated. Furthermore, I am certain in saying that when the names were originally chosen, the idea of slavery nor the intention of offending people was not what they intended. In short, the names should be kept because they represent the Confederacy and thus the South's culture apart from slavery. I think that's a good assessment.
I don't think that's a very good assessment at all because it's inaccurate. You can't sit up there and talk about the South's culture apart from slavery because slavery was an integral part of it.
Okay, we'll go with the change real quick, which is shorter, and then I'll let you go off on your tangent, MC. Change. As a former teacher in the county, it is clear to me that the perpetuating racism goes against the mission and vision of HCPS. How can we keep the names of individuals who fought a war against civil rights and still claim HCPS is a safe space for all? I never thought anybody claimed a school was necessarily a safe space. But anyway, I digress. It's unfair to say the county is accepting of all people when we have these names still honored in our schools. It's time to be practical about what they stand for and make a change that better reflects Hanover's values. I'm guessing that's who you agree with, MC, or am I putting words in your mouth?
Well, you're putting words in my mouth. All right. The thing is but at the same time, you can't sit up there and pretend that slavery was not a part of the Southern culture, and that the Southern culture, in many ways, revolved around the institution of slavery. All right, and to deny that was the case is just historically inaccurate. That doesn't mean, all right, that these names shouldn't be something that people talk about. That doesn't mean that these names are something that people read into it and then say, okay, well this guy meant slavery, and this is what this guy meant in totality, right? Because that wasn't the totality. Just like overemphasizing slavery is just as bad as trying to de-emphasize it and say that it didn't exist. All right. The fact is that these are names in Virginia history. These are well-known names of Virginia history. These are well-known people, all right, that have both good and bad about them. You could say that about every single president. You could say that about almost every single, general in U.S. history. All right. If you name something Eisenhower, well, Eisenhower had both good points and bad points. Right. I mean, if you want to take a look at a decision that Eisenhower allowed, you can take a look at what happened at the Hurtgen Forest and the disaster that turned into. And it was an unmitigated disaster. All right. You can also take a look at, Operation Overlord, where basically, we landed on the beach in Normandy. Right. So you can't take a look at these things outside of the context, the totality of the context. Now, is it true that there are some people that think of these names as slave-holding names and that's all they see? Well, yeah, but that's because these people are ignorant, and they're ignorant of history, right?
Yeah, that's why, because they can't get educated, because the schools are fucked.
Right. So if they're all you're going to end up doing is trying to erase one bad history for one bad aspect of history and try and say that it didn't exist with another bad aspect of history that didn't exist. And of course, what's the result? Is nobody learns anything. All right, you've got to take the good with the bad. And one of the things that's really, really disturbing to me, right, is this denigration of Robert E. Lee. All right, for all the bad things about Robert E. Lee that you can say because he fought for the Confederacy. For you,
but he was offered the Union general position. I thought
it doesn't matter. If that's all you focus on, then you miss the point of the debt this nation owes the man. All right, for ending the war. For actually putting a real end to the war, because Robert E. Lee, more than any other person, is the one who stood up and said, "Okay, the war is over."
I know, and that's and that's the one strike I have against Lee, that and the charge pickets. So that's 2 strikes against Lee, in my opinion. But yeah, he should have never ended the war at Appomattox. He should have said, "You know what, guys, disperse and raise hell."
You have an unrealistic expectation of people, Mad Dodge. You really do. You look at things in a very narrowly defined.
But MC, we're Yanks.
It doesn't matter if we're Yanks. We still owe a debt to Robert E. Lee. Okay, we owe that debt because if he would have said continue the fight in a guerrilla campaign, all right, we would literally be spilling blood today over it.
So would have been another conflict that lasted many, many years.
It would have lasted.
Been necessary.
It would have continued to last. I mean, people can say that. Well, it kind of did because of a lot of the actions of the KKK and so forth. All right, but it would have been a lot bloodier if it turned into a massive guerrilla campaign.
But MC, no, it would have been more confusing on the maps because then we'd have North and South America.
Well, you would have had a destruction of the North American continent. We would be what you would see are fractures that would have taken us down the pathways of Latin America. We'd be a bunch of Latin American countries.
Who's the cat person?
Of course, me. Oh, don't fall off, Chara. You're silly.
They're not only a cat person, but you use the word silly. Wow, that's a couple strikes against you.
Let's see, soy index just went right up.
Silly wabbit, Twixer for kids. We had a rabbit once.
Yeah, did the cat eat it?
No, it died.
Then the cat ate it.
No, we didn't have this cat then. I was at my mom's house.
No, I think you're right. And when you're looking at the larger picture of history, but even Lee said after the war, that if he knew what the North would bring during Reconstruction, that he would not have surrendered at Appomattox. Even the old man had second thoughts on that decision. So I think I could at least
after the Lincoln assassination, which basically brought it on. Good plan.
So what I've heard is shit gets fucked up because people can't let grudges go, but when people do, good things can happen.
But I think the biggest problem with that response, when it came to the school change, one, that this was a former teacher, okay, and a teacher should know a little bit more about Virginia history than this person really seems to know in their response.
But
and number two,
a teacher.
A substitute fucking PE teacher or some shit. Does that even count?
Teacher.
Oh, even worse. You made me lose my train of thought, memes. God damn it. No. Also, the safe space part. I mean, high school or school in general is not necessarily a safe space. You're supposed to be challenged intellectually, and that's how you grow and learn. Why do they keep coddling these people? Where everybody should feel entitled and special, pretty little snowflakes. At least that's what I take from it.
Yeah. Well, maybe kids not getting shot.
Well,
/ triggered.
Maybe you should stop right there and stop with the kids. Maybe we should be treating them as young adults and expect them to act like adults, and teaching them how to act like adults instead of freaking 2-year-olds.
But this is the problem, because people do think that, safe space means that we don't get shot, but it doesn't. It just means that these little fucking pansies basically get their own way every day, all day, every day. You know,
because safe space may fall upon a spectrum depending on who you ask.
Fucking safe space spectrum now. Fuck me.
Is it untrue?
What do you mean? Are there more are there safer places to be? Well, yeah, but depending on what it is. Like, in terms of, if you're in London, you got a damn sight more chance of getting killed.
Well, not always.
If you're in Manchester,
maybe.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, the statistics show that, right? Because it's now the highest. We just spoke about it. So obviously there are locations where you're safe, but these aren't people who are talking about their physical safety, their actual integral safety. They're moaning about their emotional fucking traumas.
Here's the question. Who are you hiring to ensure that they're safe?
Yeah, by what standards do you assess their safeness? Because each one of them suddenly says, well, now I get traumatized because I see a duck, and now you got to have fucking duck patrols just to make sure this poor little, freakazoid doesn't happen to see a duck out of the corner of their eye.
DuckTales. No, nice. No, but ducks are harmless, but geese are evil fuckers, and I want a safe space. I want a safe space for those evil bastards.
No, ducks are just biding their time. You see, they're just working. They're working to the point where they got an opposable
If
thumb.
you want a safe
They're not
space
letting
from
it out.
geese, use the same thing to get the safe space from the duck. A shotgun.
Yeah, but you see, that's not a safe space for a duck then. And then there will be people complaining about the fact that they don't like to see ducks getting shot because it makes them feel, like some fucking, I don't know, then there'll be interspecies issue. Because somebody, I identify as a duck, so as far as I'm concerned, that's genocide.
It's freaking horrible. And anybody ever says interspecies, and Clerks 2 and interspecies erotica pops in my head.
Furry lives matter.
Yeah, see? So I mean, there's no end to the lunacy of these fucking morons.
Well, if this teacher believes that these things are supposed to be safe spaces for kids, I want to know who she relies upon to ensure that place is safe. Because you can't rely on the kids, so who's she relying on?
Well, exactly. I want to know.
Is she going to sit up there and is she going to provide this quote unquote safe space, or does she expect it to magically just coalesce out of the atmosphere?
Well, right? Also, I mean, yeah, but by whose standards? I mean, this is the problem with the whole point of it. There is no way you can even assess what is a safe space in those, in these situations.
And to say that you're looking for a quote unquote safe space, that means you don't care about teaching. You're not supposed to be worrying about a safe space. You're supposed to be worried about imparting knowledge.
I thought you already identified that problem before. You said that they're not interested in teaching.
Well, then that's I'm just trying to
re-emphasize it. That's probably not exactly accurate. I think most teachers actually want to impart.
Oh, really? Then explain to me why teachers don't go on strike to fix the environments in their schools.
Because
you just said
they don't want to stand up to the establishment that's there because they're afraid they're going to get shot down or maybe demoralized or graded by not going along with the union.
We have a bunch of freaking moral cowards teaching our kids. Good plan.
Well, they're teachers. They're not like combatants and stuff. They just want to teach within the system.
And they're not. I'm not asking them to get into a freaking gun battle with people.
Well, maybe they need better representation. If they're not, I don't know.
Wait a minute. They decide on their own representation. They're the ones that sit up there and decide who the officers of the frickin' union are.
MC, nothing would ever go wrong with elected politicians.
I'm not saying that nothing goes wrong with it, but I'm not bitching about somebody
I'm just trying to point at where maybe the issue might be. I don't know this.
I'm not trying to blame Russia for the fact that frickin' Trump got elected.
Yeah. Well, it's an easy scapegoat because you just go Russia. And there are enough folks around that still remember Cold War.
And what do teachers do now? My parents. You ask all of them, the first thing they'll come back with is the parents. They do not want to look at themselves. They do not want to hold any kind of accountability for what they helped create.
No group would ever demonize another for any of their own shortcomings, ever.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to sit up there and support that freaking crap.
Oh, I have no idea. No. I think many folks have a little bit of blame here and there.
Well, memes, you're saying that they're scared to stand up to the establishment and protest for better textbooks or better facilities at the school, but they're perfectly willing to walk out at the drop of a hat for a couple extra dollars a freaking
they got the union backing them for that, right? They got a collective. They got a bunch of folks.
They are the union. You cannot sit up there and divorce the fact that they are the ones that put them in place. They are the ones that vote to go on strike. Okay, so don't come back and say that the majority of these people just want to teach, because they don't.
And they demonstrate. We elected President Trump and we elected Congress.
I'm sorry, but the biggest
difference. We are the people as well.
We are, and we've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, everybody makes mistakes.
I don't blame frickin' Massachusetts for frickin' John McCain. Trust me.
I blame Massachusetts for Harvard.
I know. I voted for President McCain.
I blame Massachusetts for the song.
No. Blame the governor.
Yeah, see, they don't even say governor right.
No, it's a Massachusetts joke. It's like one of the dudes from, I think, one of the crime families was like, I blame the governor. It makes sense. It makes me laugh.
Yeah, you're also the ones who came up with Wicked and
what?
Bubbler.
No, we just popularized it.
I just hope the teacher that wrote that comment was not a history teacher and she taught fucking language arts or some shit. That's my only hope.
History is important. I had a badass history teacher in high school.
I hated history at school, but again, because it was taught so, you know, in such a dry manner, it didn't really engage people.
Dude, my teacher, when he was going through the Magna Carta and stuff, like he would be up there, he'd have me marching behind him and stuff, and occasionally I'd mean to like stab him in the back, and he just kind of give me the eye, and it was fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you act out that. That's how it should have been done. We had one teacher like that, but it was only for 2 terms, I think. And then I really got into it. But then after that, it was just back to, you know,
teaching history
repeating
is difficult.
dates.
The thing about history is it's hard. Some people find it very difficult to get into history because they're, especially in the United States, because Americans tend to be very forward-looking people. So looking backward isn't something that's natural within our culture. All right, and there's good things about that aspect, but there's also bad things.
So obnoxious.
Well, you think I'm wrong?
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, Britain made an entire empire out of looking forwards and say, hey, let's see what shit we can get up to. Oh yeah, but it's only you know.
Was I mentioning anything about the British Empire?
No, you made out that it was a special trait.
I didn't make out it. I said it is a trait of Americans.
Inferred it. Yeah.
I said it's a trait of Americans. It is. And don't tell me about how the British Empire looks forward as they constantly sit up there and drone on about the different kings and queens.
No, that's the problem. No, I mean, when they started to go backwards, that's when it all went tits up. But it was created by the forward thinkers, by the adventurers.
I agree.
Yeah,
right, but that was when.
I'm saying that you're saying about it. Well, but then again, you know, when America was, you know, when you're saying about this forward-thinking concept, Britain thinks like that. The governments don't. That's the problem. It's not the people don't. The governments don't. The governments are the ones that are preoccupied.
I don't know how many times, Cabbage, I've been
with history.
I've had people try to lecture me, all right, about how Americans don't know history. And that comes from Britain, that comes from France, that comes from especially the Greeks. The Greeks are the worst. All right.
Yeah, but you've already admitted that you know, because you're especially forward-thinking people, that you don't worry too much about history. I mean, that was the beginning of the premise, and I just pointed out the fact that don't make out.
I said cultural,
it's a unique aspect.
Culturally, it is unique. You can't show me that right now throughout the world. You can't show it to me.
What you mean currently?
You can't. Yes.
Hang on, currently. What do you mean? No, well, okay, if you're looking at Britain talking about the kings and queens, how long is fucking America?
We're talking about modern day society.
No, I am talking about. Oh, yeah, exactly, Dick. And I'm saying to you that you're talking about modern people still talking about kings and queens. Well, how many people fucking harp on about the 1950s in America?
Well, President
and the height of the heyday and how they want to go back to the fucking. Some people they want to go back to the fucking days of the Wild West. You know, like they want to
make America great again. Was the whole like 50s like Americana type?
Where did you come back with this idea of that the 1950s was Americana? This whole thing is being portrayed.
2 cars in every garage. Work a good paying job for 30 years and retire.
It's cool to wear leather jackets again. I'm looking forward to that.
These are the American mythos. You have the Wild West mythos. You have the 1950s mythos. It's no different than us harping back to, you know, the days of the sheriff.
That is only popularized, all right, within the you know the entertainment media.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's used politically.
I think a lot of folks at the pubs I was at kind of felt the same thing.
What?
That, like, when Trump was doing the whole Make America Great thing, like, he never really actually explained what he actually meant. It was literally just a meme.
When he was talking about Make America Great Again, everyone has their own viewpoint of what that meant.
Well,
right? That's not saying that it was.
And that's what I mean. So that's the mythos.
No, that's not the mythos. Once again, you were saying 1950s, and most people don't even think about that.
No, I didn't just say it. If you'd shut up, you'd actually hear what I was saying, because I said it was a mythos, which is like whether it's a Wild West or whether it's the, you know, the 1950s, you know, there and the or the, you know, the people coming across on the Mayflower. You got plenty of it of your own. You got plenty of looking back in history, and then you're saying that it's like, well, we're the only ones who look forwards.
No, I did not. First of all, I didn't say that. Number one, which you read into it, and then you're trying to.
No, it's what you said.
I did not say that we're the only ones who look forward. And you can replay this entire thing.
You said that you are particularly special because of it. Like there was a particular element of it within American culture.
It is an element of an American culture. The fact
it's an element of every fucking lots of cultures.
That doesn't mean that it's not part of other cultures, nor does it indicate that. You kind of just read into that.
No.
Yes.
You made it out that it was a special characteristic.
I did not.
Made America. You said this is one of the things that. This is what you said. No.
Everything that America has done, as if somehow we have to be totally beholden to some kind of British ideal. And if the America does it, Britain did it first.
You are fucking delusional,
I love how you guys
my
are both
friend.
arguing over what make America great.
You're fucking delusional because what you
brings people.
Yeah, but all he said was the fact that it was a specific, element that it was something
you're
more significant within the US.
It's funny.
I'm
like,
pointing out
this is what makes America great. No, this is what I mean. That was the whole meme.
There you go. And that's the mythoses that got brought up. These whole historical, backleanings.
You are so lost in Hollywood, and you think that is how America defines itself, and it's not how America defines.
No, it's not. But it's part of the. Well, what you think that Britain really defines itself as Queen Victoria or Henry VIII, or
How many times do I have to hear about the empire?
What do you mean hear about it? Nothing ever really gets said about it.
Oh, you please!
No, I mean it gets mentioned. I mean, like as an entity.
How many times have you called me a colonial? How many times have you heard the Britisher use that term, or Sargon use that term? Don't come back and tell me that you guys don't use it all the frickin' time.
But it's used as comedy. I mean, the whole point is that we know that it's funny, right? It's meant to be a funny comment. Fuck me, buy a funny bone.
But
Jesus,
you
think that's actually a fucking historical reference?
Would you say those references are grossly offensive?
It's made in a snide context.
No, it isn't. That's how you interpret it. You see, now you're talking about your...
And this is not the first time I have explained that, and you guys still do it because it isn't just how I interpret it, it's how you indicate it and what you're trying to do with it.
Bullshit. It's the context in which it's done. If somebody said that, you're all fucking worthless because, we were the empire and we think that we should be the best, right?
I never said that you called us worthless.
Fucking hell. You are. This is such bollocks.
Hey,
I can't believe it.
Now, guys.
Look, I mean, Americans, look, if an American called me, I've been called a limey, and I know that it's to be taken in comedy because that's how you do it. It's like me calling, Mad Dodge a Yankee. Right? He knows I'm taking the
I'll bet if you got called a limey, it was because it was a response to something that you said, though.
No, it isn't. It was. It's just one of those things that people use, and it's just a little dig at people. And it's like, like I said, if I was just to say to Mad Dodge, I could address him and say, "How you doing, Yankee?" Right? I used to have a friend of mine who was black as the ace of spades, and used to go in and go, "Hey, nigger." People would freak out because but it was a joke because it came from something that we both shared, right? The gollywog thing to do with the Robinson's jam. But anyway, it was a private joke and nobody else, cared about it. Now, that's very private, but this one is pretty fucking obvious. If I call Mad Dodge a Yankee, that's satirical, right? That's ironic.
What's his response?
Well, he would then call me a limey.
No. He'll say, screw you, but won't use that word. He'll say, fuck you.
Well, he'll say, screw you, limey, or whatever, but he'll stick a limey at the end of it, or something else. He'll red coat. Maybe he'd stick red coat at the end of it, and it wouldn't offend me.
He might say you British bastard at the end of it.
There you go. But I wouldn't be offended by it.
I will also say that Americans, in this regard, and this is very true as well, we are very thin-skinned towards some of this stuff.
MC literally just raised my pulse by saying red coat. Maybe it's just from growing up in Massachusetts, but all of a sudden I was partially triggered. I'm not gonna lie.
You need a safe space.
Well, I don't know, maybe. I think I need some chicken nuggets.
You remember back?
Can't we all just
remember back in the days when you said them's fighting words?
Not allowed to say that now.
Wait. So are you saying that the quote-unquote social justice warriors are right?
In what regard?
Well, because that's the argument they made. when you use certain words, they're fighting words. Thereby, those words are violence. That's the
Oh
argument.
yeah, good point. Yeah.
No,
Well, yeah, no.
It all comes
because
full circle.
that's a good question. But the difference is in a personal context.
Exactly. No, and that's what I tend to agree with. I'm just like, every situation is different. Like Cabbage was just sharing something that many may feel were actually offensive, but to the individuals involved, it was just basically just their personal interaction. It was a method of like addressing another person, like a friend, just taking the piss out of them a bit.
Ribbing.
I think the context.
There wasn't malice.
Yeah, but it can also
I-
be done, generally, amongst people that, they know each other. I mean, culturally, we don't consider you to be colonials anymore. How many people move to America? Loads of people aspire to, be over there, or, we consume all of your.
Well, Cabbage,
Hollywood
I learned this a long time ago as a kid. Remember, first is the worst, second is the best. Third is the word with the hairiest chest.
Okay, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but is it deep?
It was a Mad Dog would get it.
Yeah, jokes never work when you have to.
I don't know because I don't even know what the hell he's saying, to be honest. I think it was
that was a big '90s thing. Maybe it was an East Coast. Yeah, first is the worst, second is the best. And then you just kept on devolving further and further.
No, I've never heard of anything like that.
We were kids and we like things that rhyme. Leave me alone.
All right. So Wolf Shot's in the chat. How you doing, Wolf Shot? She said two different things. One, she said there's a school shooting in San Diego at Lincoln. I don't know if it's high school or middle school. If one of you guys want to fact check that for me, my computer's going slow. I tried to do it myself.
Epidemic.
And number two, she said anti-SJWs are the same as SJWs. I don't believe so, but I could see how you could argue that. What say you guys?
Well, I think that the same MGTOWs are the equivalent of, third wave feminists. And I agree with her. I really do. Because they become as extreme. They just become just factions entrenched on two sides. I mean, they mimic each other in so many ways.
You can only rally so many people behind something before you'll see groups start to disagree on things, fracture, segment, and I mean, you see it in pretty much every group. Okay, Ivy police presence await some LPS students following off-campus shooting. This is from the Lincoln Journal-Star, updated 2 hours ago. Lincoln police maintain heightened presence in the city's public high schools this week following a failed shooting involving students in the College View neighborhood last week. Okay, maybe this is an older
March 22nd.
Okay, never mind. Wrong date.
Gunfire erupted today at a high school in San Diego suburb, leaving 6 people, including the alleged gunman, wounded. So apparently somebody probably died from a gunshot wound.
But that's not in the school, right? I mean, so basically any shooting that happens now within a certain area of a school is going to be called a school
Police
shooting.
said the suspect, identified as 18-year-old Jason Hoffman, was wounded and taken into custody after exchanging gunfire with police near an administrative building at Grant Hills High School. Authorities.
But was he a student at that school? I mean, how is it relevant? I mean, like I said,
it says he was a student. It says he was an 18-year-old student.
But he wasn't shooting students or anything.
He said authorities. Hold on. Authorities said Hoffman shot 3 students and 2 teachers as they were returning to class from lunch period.
Okay. See, that's what happens when you say you can't take firearms into schools. They just shoot you outside of the schools.
Any word on what type of firearm was used?
Hospital officials said 5 suffered pellet wound injuries that were not life-threatening, which means it sounds like it's at least something with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Oh, so, next, no more duck hunting, right? Those ducks with the kill, that's going to be banned, huh?
Well, once again, if he's out there trying to shoot people and he's using a shotgun and he's using birdshot, which is what it sounds like, he obviously doesn't know anything about guns or how to utilize them. Even shotguns.
To be fair, slugs.
Yeah, they use slugs if you wanted.
Slug. What was it? Last time I went to buy slugs, 3 slugs for $15. That's pretty spendy.
Yeah, but they go through car doors.
True. I bought some.
Yeah,
but
come on.
I'm just saying.
A single slug could take out at least 3 or 4 if you got them in a row.
Yeah, possibly. Yep.
Right.
I mean,
it could be more cost effective.
It is throughput. That's one of the things that I try to. Well, I'm not going to go into this right now. Never mind. I was going to say something that's not a good idea.
That's one of the things I try to tell people when they go there. No, but what they can't.
One thing I always keep telling them is line them up before you fire.
Yeah. Aim for that gold star on their shirt.
We have pressure on the budget.
That's not what I was. That's not where I was going. But
Oh no, well, we don't know, do we now?
Well, let's put it this way: the 223 round, which is what the AR-15 basically fires, is a round that is not meant. It's meant to go into the body and not really leave.
Well, it depends what kind of round you're using, right? I mean, whether it's you can put any. You could put hollow points on it if you wanted to.
Well, yeah, but the 223 round in itself is a very light round. All right, so it's meant to hit the body and tumble, and basically it's meant to do hydrostatic shot to a body. Okay, but
it's more powerful than the 22 round though. It's not going to bounce around in there like a 22 will.
Oh, right? Yes, it will. That's why when people get shot in the shoulder, sometimes the bullet exits through the leg.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I didn't think that would be possible. Wow.
Yeah, there have been documented cases where somebody gets shot in the shoulder and it actually came out the foot.
Christ.
Now think about the pathway that has to take to a human.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like that's going around angles and stuff. That's like the fucking magic bullet and JFK.
Well, it's meant to bounce off frickin' hard objects. So if it hits bone, it tends to.
Well, that's what I mean. So you'd expect it. Yeah, but I mean, if it hits a bone, that's going to be your shoulder, your collarbone, gets deflected down your arm, hits your elbow. You think that it would get deflected again, but into muscle. It's not going to get deflected into another.
If it hits your shoulder blade, it could be deflected inward and go down through all of your organs on the way out to your foot.
That's true. Yeah, it is
right?
soft
Which is like I said, the round is meant to stay as much.
Yeah, but it's still got to get through your hip and everything. That's a hell of an achievement. I just thought it would come out of his crotch.
It just goes around the hip bone. If it gets on the outside, depends on how the bullet entered into the shoulder. But they have been documented cases like this. This is what I'm trying to say. So if you're looking,
amazing.
I'll leave it at that.
No, that's really interesting. I don't deny it, because I mean you've seen different bullets where they do have weird, like the entry point and the exit point. But I never knew one had gone that far. You know what I mean, from shoulder to.
Well, they were, and once again, the 223 round was designed to do that because it was the round that we were using in Vietnam for that very specific purpose. So that,
we just like bullets going out of people's legs?
No, you want to hit the person and put them down.
Yeah,
you don't want to get them getting up and running around.
Yeah, but won't I know in combat a shotgun can be used, but it's not necessarily the go-to weapon. But I mean, the stopping power on a 12 gauge is good enough.
Distance.
Yeah, because you got no range with a shotgun unless you unlock stock and 2 smoking barrels. This fucking blunderbuss.
You got because of the speed of the round, you've got a lot of distance. You've got 300 meters, all right, of easy aiming range. So as long as there isn't something to deflect it. Now, of course, the negative side of that is when you're in a jungle environment. Okay, sticks and twigs and things like that will cause it to tumble very quickly as well. All right, which is why the enemy chose a different round, because they wanted penetrating power. They wanted to be able to push through brush. Even if it did cause the bullet to tumble, the tumble would still more or less remain on the same trajectory.
Yeah, I'm just glad he didn't use an AR. They're going to use this to spark up the gun debate again. I saw an article out of the Oregonian that I didn't really want to cover. I'll just bring up briefly here. Where they interviewed some of the high school kids who were helping with the rally in Eugene for the walk for our fucking take away our rights march or whatever the fuck they called it.
No, the
So-
David Hogg thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I saw that story that was out today in the Oregonian, and I was just rolled my eyes. But another school shooting, goddamn! All right, stop glorifying these idiots. I don't even know this guy's name. I think you did read it out, but the news just loves to glorify these guys, and then other depressed teenagers who aren't smart enough to know that just because they broke up with their girlfriend 2 days ago, it's not the end of the goddamn world. They're so full of fucking emotions and fucking hyped up on their fucking hormones.
But is that the reason why these are happening? I don't know that that's the majority of motivation is they go. I mean, there was the guy who shot up that place in, where was it, Santa Barbara or whatever, California, you know, because he couldn't get a date or, you know,
Yeah.
the video blog.
I was
I mean, are most of them about that? I don't know. I mean, what was the trench coat mafia's motivation for it?
They were being
didn't
bullied.
like the kids.
Yeah, they were being bullied. They were being tormented day in and day out for what, 10 years? They went to the same school district from elementary or kindergarten on. So these same kids were bullying them over and over again. Same with the blank land shooting. You know, if you say the actual name of the fucking place, you get your demonetized and taken down and everything else from the YouTube mafia. But it's the same thing.
But the
there.
Florida one wasn't the Florida one. That was about bullying as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so these aren't about girlfriends.
David Hogg. David Hogg is a cunt. He fucking he bullied this kid day in and day out. Yeah, I don't know why he wasn't on the chopping block, but whatever.
But that's what I mean. You know, the reasons generally are people feeling ostracized. You know, and why is that? There's a, you know, I mean, if they started addressing that issue rather than the gun issue, they might actually make some headway.
Well, they ignored that issue. That's the problem.
Exactly.
There were all the signs that this guy had mental health issues, and the police ignored it.
Yes, but also why he had mental health issues, and health issues were caused by, you know, the actions of, and it's a broader social, you know.
I mean, people can have mental health issues for a variety of reasons. All right. The fact is that when somebody says, or when it becomes obvious that somebody has mental health issues, it's what steps do you do to address that? And in this case, you have an example where nobody addressed it, where they more or less turned a blind eye to it. There's everybody within the system that had a responsibility to do something. I mean, the police are not there to diagnose, you know, why a person has mental health issues, just like they don't care why that guy's robbing a television. All right.
Okay, then
arrest you for robbing a television.
But then you know what this is going to, you know, drive towards is, you know, like with the fucking SJWs and all of these thought police, you know, lunatics on the, you know, the liberal left. You know, then it's going to be, you know, compulsory psychiatric and psychometric testing for all kids, you know, like all the way through their lives, trying to, I mean, it really goes into that whole, I don't know, it's a very weird avenue that you go down to.
Well, they're kind of doing that now anyway, aren't they?
Well, I don't know, are they? We never needed it. Hell, I went to a private school. I got bullied like crazy, but you had to stand up for yourself. And it was a military academy, so if I wanted to shoot someone, I could have done.
Well, look at all the ADD that they sit up there and prescribe frickin' Ritalin for.
Well, yeah, but but then again, how many of these kids are feeling the way they are because of the counter effect? I mean, don't forget, a lot of these psychoactive drugs, they're saying that they may cause depression. You know, it's one of the downsides of the actual medication that you give them, and a lot of it is to do with the kind of the balance of the medication, and a lot of it is just trial and error.
Yeah, but Cabbage, overprescribing these drugs like Adderall and Ritalin and straight amphetamine salts to kids that don't necessarily need them. Now, ADHD might be a thing, all right? A small minority of people might actually need medication.
I think that's just kids being kids.
Yeah, for the most part, these are boys being boys, and they're being given crystal meth. And yeah, it's not necessarily keeping them awake, but that is having an effect on their mood swings, their endorphin levels, and everything else during your teenage years when you're already out of whack with hormones and you don't know what to do with the fucking boner you get 10 times a day. I mean, what the fuck?
Exactly,
You can't be giving these kids this shit.
I totally agree with you. I think it's the most hideous thing. It should be a very small minority of kids that should ever need these things.
No,
if you find that you need more and more, then they should be looking at the reasons why these kids are having to be drugged up. And they haven't. They've just said, we can solve the problem by drugging them, not by identifying why we think they need to be drugged.
Well, as long as you don't smoke pot before you're 16, you're fine.
That's funny. I actually smoked weed and drank for the first time at 16, not before.
You're fine.
Fine is not the term I would use to describe it.
Hey, now, MC.
It's subjective.
I mean, but seriously, we're over medicating our children, and that to me is a strong reason for the rise in mental health issues amongst our teenagers, and in concurrence, the rise in violent freaking homicides in public places like schools, like colleges.
See, that was some of the things that is surprising to me, that these kids have just done it for those sort of reasons. You know, I just thought they'd have done it for infamy. You know, they just want to have some kind of legacy. You know, I did it. You know, they'll remember me, that kind of thing. But it doesn't. It's not really about that.
Purpose. You need purpose in life.
No, the thing is what are the teachers there for? They're there to teach. Are they teaching, or are they trying to socialize? That's part of the biggest part of the problem.
Well, it sounds like a lot of them are trying to get laid.
And trying to get drugged up. Trying to get laid and drugged. I mean, what a comment. You're meant to leave that till you're in college. Maturing too early.
So what's the next story, Mad Dodge?
It's all about the fluoride in the water.
The frogs.
All right. Trump administration sues California over state law on federal land transfers. So, this is out of Politico. I'll switch over to it. All right. The legal war between the Trump administration and the state of California expanded Monday as the Justice Department sued to block a new state law that limits transfers of federal lands. The suit, filed in federal court in Sacramento on Monday, contends that the state law is unconstitutional because it interferes with Congress's right to control the sale of federal property. California's legislature adopted the law last October at the urging of environmentalists like Greenpeace and etc., concerned that the Trump administration was going to sell off federal land for real estate development, mining, or drilling, which I am in total support of. I get rid of that federal land, sell it, develop it, let's use it. I think the Trump administration has a point. Can the state pass a law regulating federal property?
Hence, do state laws apply? I mean, America's going through the same thing at the moment, I think, as the European Union in some weird ways. You know, I mean, like Brexit, that was about recovering states' rights. You know, literally.
There's definitely a states' right issue that's going on within the United States, but the problem is when it comes to does the state law trump U.S. federal law? And the answer is no. All right, it doesn't. All right, but that doesn't mean that the federal government should be allowed to have these options.
No, I can't just let you pass that one right on by. Yes, it does. The 10th Amendment clearly states all powers not delegated to the federal government or the state government is withheld by the states or the people, respectively, sir.
Okay. But that has nothing to do with federal legislation versus
when the Constitution was drafted, the federal government did not really control broad swaths of land like they do in the Western United States.
I don't disagree with you. But however, it wasn't the states that did the Louisiana Purchase either.
That's true.
You gotta throw Jefferson at me? That was a low blow.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty clever.
There's something called history. Study it.
I remember. I know exactly what happened with the Louisiana Purchase. That's why I even brought up the president.
Well, there weren't 50 states back then anyway. It was 13, wasn't there?
Okay, so where do
That's
you
correct.
stand then? Are you saying the federal government can supersede the 10th Amendment? Because it was never granted the power to own vast swaths of land, like I just said. The Louisiana Purchase...
There was nothing, once again, there was nothing that said that the federal government couldn't purchase land, though, either. See, now we become the issue, especially when you're talking about outside of the states. And that's hold on, and that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with land that was purchased that was outside of the defined borders of the states when this land was purchased.
Yeah, but the powers not granted to the federal government is withheld by the states and or the people respectively. Therefore, it is granted that the states have the power to regulate the land within their borders.
Right, but you're talking about land outside of the borders, and this becomes the issue.
Where's Candid Lynn when you need her? She's the one that's studying to be a lawyer.
So you're saying, right? Okay, I think I get what MC's saying. So the land that was purchased was actually outside the land of any of the states that were part of the federal government at that time. So it was an expansion. It wasn't an occlusion of somebody else's land.
That's correct.
Well, when you're talking about the state of California, though, that was won during the Mexican-American War, right? Or am I wrong there? Everybody muted at the same time. Hello?
What are we crying about now?
We're talking about if California is right, eliminating the power of the federal government to sell off federal land.
Anything that limits the federal government, I'm okay with.
But it's their land.
Is it?
They own it.
Do they?
Yeah, they give you cash for it.
No shit. So all that shit with Bundy and everything was just, faggotry?
No, that was as far as I understand, he actually had a contract.
I don't think it's a good thing. It's not a good thing. I wouldn't be happy about it. But I don't live in California. I don't give a shit.
I don't think either of us know exactly what's going on either.
No, I mean, I read an article this morning about the federal government being upset about suing California because of the land
they're trying to
issue.
sell California's land.
I don't know what they're trying to do.
No, okay, so now on the West Coast, the federal government owns vast swaths of land, all around where I live to all the way through the gold deposits in California.
Well, actually, couldn't they get around that by just leasing the land?
Well, see, California wants to keep it for the birds and the turtles and the shit. All right, they're afraid the federal government is going to sell it for development. Now, see, this is where I'm conflicted.
And they're not going to. They're not going to.
Hey, Wolfie.
Hey, what's up?
Good.
These guys are faggots. Faggots.
And you're a leather.
We're talking about guns and condom snorting and shit like that. It's very exciting.
I couldn't believe that. I couldn't not talk about that story. We had to open the show with the condom snorting. These fucking kids are insane.
No, their parents kind of suck. Honestly, that's all it really
has a
comes
latex
down to.
allergy.
All of this bullshit can be solved with just discipline and better parenting. Seriously. Where the fuck are the parents when they're snorting condoms or eating Tide Pods or shooting up schools? I mean, we've been asking the same question since 1997 or 96, whenever Columbine happened.
They're doing 3 different jobs to try and keep a roof over their head.
Pretty much. So they didn't, at the beginning, they didn't instill enough discipline in these kids not to fucking fly off the handle or whatever the fuck the case may be. Because it's not like I'm a fucking role model. That's for sure. But I knew if I fucked up at school or something, that I was going to get my ass handed to me at home. So.
Well, but the idea that you're not a role model is incorrect as well.
I'm not, and no. I'm not anyone's fucking role model.
Well, we're not saying it's a good role model, but
I'm a terrible role model.
I mean, maybe American History X, you'd be
Hey, I
Positive
would curb
boon.
stomp a fucking faggot in a heartbeat. Okay.
I mean, the idea that people aren't going to view you and aren't going to use you as a template, right? Whether good or bad, right? That's reality. That's going to happen.
Well, it's usually bad. So I guess I am a terrible role model.
Well, you don't have the same. Now, let's be honest. You don't have the same reach as, say, like a celebrity of some sort, right? Which is why it always irritates me when people say, "Well, I'm not a role model." Well, you are. The fact that younger people are looking at your actions and making judgment calls.
I fucking hate kids, though. What kids are looking at me, MC? Honestly.
And anybody that sees you. Right?
Yeah, I mean, technically, he's right. What he means is basically that you, as an element of society, contribute as a potential role model. Maybe potential. I think you got to prefix it with potential role model.
Potential.
Well, no,
almost there. Slightly retarded. Almost there.
Whether for good or for bad, she is a role model, and I'm a role model, and Cabbage is a role model.
Well,
even
you've got kids. Cabbage is just old. Memes. I don't know if you have kids.
Hey, my nieces and nephews.
Oh, there you go. See,
I'm the great crazy uncle.
You do have an impact on the people that you meet.
Yeah, because my aunts and uncles had a huge impact on me when I was growing up. So own it, for real.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean that you're not an individual. That doesn't mean you don't make your own decisions. It's just a matter of you are going to be observed, and people are. You know
what? No, wait. You know who I'm a role model to? My fucking cats. The little one likes to fuck the big one, and they're both girls. It's great. Well, I'm a great role model.
I don't think you're as bad as you think.
Wait a minute. You taught? Never mind.
No, I didn't.
What the fuck's wrong with your cats?
I didn't teach them to do anything. Sometimes cats will do that. It's weird.
Think about it. Even Manson was a role model. Yeah, so you're not even remotely close to the the extreme of role modeling.
She's just trying to hide the fact that she taught her cats how to do the thing, Kyle.
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not.
No, they knew it. They already knew it. They were born with it in them.
She was copying Count Dankula.
Yeah, no, well, I'm not going to jail for that over here, though, which sucks.
Yeah.
She bought natural Nazi cat.
I'm sure it'll be coming
No training necessary.
Yeah, they read me Mein Kampf every night. It's great.
We purr it in your ear.
Yeah, the 14 words every time I wake up in the morning.
1488 is that what it is?
Yeah, we must secure a future for our white children or whatever the fuck it is. I can't remember.
Oh my god, I have to make that video.
What video? About my cats?
Yeah.
Subliminal messages with the purring in your ear in the morning.
That's hot. But no, I discovered this today that we in Virginia, we have the biggest white nationalist occult group on the East Coast. It's called the Wolves of Vinland. And they're a pagan type Odinist group, and they're really white nationalists. And they're like 2 hours from me. I'm like, that's awesome! Yay!
So basically, it's loosely based on the Wolf's Head Brigade.
Whatever the fuck the werewolves are in I can't remember.
No, that's at Black Forest in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the werewolves were.
It's the Black Forest.
The werewolves were in the Viking, not a berserker or a wolf and whatever. The other one. I gotta look it up. Hold on.
I think it's the Black Forest, isn't it? That's where most of those things come from.
You should go to wherever they are and try and find a recruitment poster and send it to me. I just want a recruitment poster for the hell of it.
Dude, they have pretty awesome rocker panels on their jackets.
He wants it for the hell of it.
I want a rocker
right
patch.
next to the rebel flag.
I want a rocker patch. I'm not gonna lie, they look pretty awesome.
And no, I would not put it by the rebel flag. Gotta keep those two separate.
Everything's a fucking fashion statement now, isn't it? I love the rocker. I mean, I don't care about the philosophy, but You know, I just love that swastika.
Oh no. Well, that's what
I
the
love
art.
that design. The other thing is the Germans had a really good PR department. I mean, you know, Hugo Boss and, you know, and all the design that they put into it.
Okay, it is. Okay, so it's called the Ulfendar. I can't pronounce this shit to save my life. Ulfendarnar. I don't know. Anyways, it's essentially a berserker, but a wolf form of it. I don't know. That's what they think they are. Blah,
Put it
blah,
in the chat so we can read it.
blah. Okay, hold on.
Well, there's bound to be a wiki page. I mean, for what it's worth.
No, I mean, we were talking about role models. Now you're giving an example. See?
Ulfhednar. I can't fucking pronounce it.
Well, Muhammad's a fucking, you know,
Yes.
he's been a little bit of a role model, hasn't he, in his day?
Yeah, and it carries on for century after century. Isn't it wonderful?
Okay, so the berserker is the bear version of the Ulfendar, or whatever the fuck this is called.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Vikings, they're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, Scandinavians,
Anyway,
they can party.
So it's the wolf, the whatever. The wolves of Vinland are based in Lynchburg, Virginia, and
Lynchburg, Virginia. That's a great place to house it,
isn't it? I thought so.
Virginia. Perfect.
It's really close to Charlottesville, and they were at Charlottesville, by the way.
That can't be a coincidence. They must have.
Oh,
made
not
that.
at all.
Okay.
Were they the crazy fuckers with the shields? What group was that?
I have no idea. I think those were another group called it starts with an A.
Aryan?
No, it's Arsen.
I was saying Aryan something.
No. I know Aryan Brotherhood. It's around here, actually. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I didn't know that today. I'm like,
artisanal.
I'm so proud of Virginia today, right now.
Artisanal racism.
Well, I guess the Pacific Northwest is well known for skinheads and shit too, like up in Portland and in Idaho and shit.
Well, yeah, they have a West Coast chapter too.
Oh,
Big West
nice.
Coast chapter. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can get a recruitment poster closer to home.
Memes. You got to do something with that. Artisanal racism.
Well, what they're doing is they're subverting paganism and
So funny.
fucking
Gordon Ramsay racism sort of thing.
Basically polytheism and subverting it and making it a white nationalist thing. Like they're taking runes and putting it to like essentially Nazi shit, like the swastika. It's crazy. They're hijacking him.
Yeah, but the thing is, the swastika was hijacked from Indian culture.
I
swastika
know.
was never a hate symbol. It was a peace symbol.
I don't think they're hijacking anything. If you look at the cult linkage between the Third Reich or whatever Nazi Germany, there was the what was it? Fucking Thelema Society or no?
Oh no,
Thelema.
No, the Thule Society.
Thule Society, yeah. So there's always been this occult.
Yeah, but that mysticism went away, and like I don't know, they were atheists and then they were pagan and then they were fucking Christian or some shit, right?
Yeah, no, there's still a big Teutonic identity within Germany. I mean, it is part of the, like people here still, we were saying earlier on about people harping back to stuff, but the old idea of King Arthur and stuff like that, the Knights of the Round Table and the, Knight's Creed and that kind of stuff. Well, so there's still a lot of that in Germany,
Essentially, what I'm saying is one day, I'm sure, the Odin's Hammer or runes will be banned too, because of what these people are doing with these symbols.
They will never ban Ragnarok.
Are you kidding? I got beat up for a fucking flag. Come on.
Yeah, no, and that's so crazy too. If you look around where I live, and I live in fucking Oregon. Just in the area I live in, there's like 3 or 4 Confederate flags hanging outside proudly. People have them on their truck, like big ass fucking 5-foot Confederate flags off the back of their pickup truck.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You have to own it, and it's not. I mean, look, the problem is, right? You're doing it because you respect your heritage. Other people take offense because they think that you're doing it to offend them. right? But you're not. The intent is not to offend anyone. It's because you're proud of your heritage. And that's the problem, you see. You can't help these, these fucking people who are going to take offense to. There's always going to be somebody who takes offense to anything, no matter how innocuous it's intended to be.
Well, yeah, and I have an American flag hanging off my porch, and I have my Confederate flags hanging on the wall inside. I mean, whatever. The American flag's outside.
I thought you'd have had the 13-star flag.
Oh, we had a bad windstorm.
I thought you'd have had the Confederacy.
We had a bad windstorm, and it took my fucking stars and bars, and it hit a barbed wire fence and fucking ripped. We have to sew it back together. They got a big ass hole in it. It's been through a battle.
The war wound.
I came in at the wrong
nobody.
time.
Hey, what's up, man?
I heard it ripped it, sewed it back together, and then big asshole.
Got blown out. Got blown the fuck out.
Hey, I have a comic book question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If Superman were black, would he be less powerful?
He'd eat a lot of fried chicken.
He'd be faster.
And watermelon would have to be the kryptonite.
And
No, I have a legitimate reason. This isn't about stereotypes. Here's the thing.
Hold on. And Superman is actually black in an alternate universe. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, but did they make him less powerful?
No.
They should have. Here's the thing. He's powered by the rays of the yellow sun. Melanin blocks the the thing that makes it more powerful.
Okay. So in that case, what you're saying is, if Superman was Japanese, he'd be even more powerful than Superman.
Are Japanese people, do they have less melanin than Caucasians? I don't actually know.
Well, they're yellow people, aren't they?
Actually, if it's yellow, that means it's reflecting yellow light.
Oh, that's true. So yeah, they're bouncing it off even more,
but
which would mean that but then black people would absorb all the light, so that would make them more powerful.
Well, you know what? If you didn't like Black Panther, you're racist, or at least that's what I was told.
Has anyone seen it, by the way?
I did.
I haven't.
As bad as it?
Black
Is it
Trump
good,
versus
bad?
Black Hitler was a good movie.
Is that what it really? Is that what it is? Really?
Basically, it's basically that.
Oh,
pretty
God.
fucking good,
Okay,
actually.
thank you for saving me the download.
That's actually it's pretty funny.
God. Is there any good films out there? I've been trawling everywhere trying to find something that's worth watching.
I want to watch that.
Thing.
I want to watch
Dog.
that new Winston Churchill movie, or it might not be quite so new anymore. But that's what I want to watch.
Oh
yeah,
the Longest Day or something.
Darkest Hour.
Yeah, The Darkest Hour. Yeah, Longest Day. That's
I want to see Isle of Dogs, but
that preview looked fucking terrible.
I'm excited.
I saw Ready Player One.
Yeah, I heard that was hit or miss for people.
I read the book, so the movie basically took the title and got the character descriptions right. That's about it.
I was about to say it was terrible then, because I've also read the book, and I'm like,
there was a really good scene involving The Shining that wasn't in the book, but I really appreciated it in the movie. I just wish it had been part of a different movie, but it was really good. That scene.
Okay, there's a movie coming out called The Quiet Place or some shit like that. Hold on.
Are they going to do another Purge movie this year?
Yes,
I like
they
to
are.
watch those.
Yeah,
nice.
It's called A Quiet Place, and it's got
Sounds
Emily.
like a child molesting movie.
It's actually, I think it's a zombie movie.
Oh.
Post-apocalyptic, blah blah blah. It actually looks pretty good. I want to see it.
I'm bored with zombies and vampires.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're zombies or not. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's just you have to be quiet, or these things are gonna come out and fucking kill you.
I think the zombie thing and stuff really, hit its peak with
Trailers in the side chat.
I want to make a zombie movie about the far left, and they just lumber around going misogyny.
Yeah, I want to make one about the far right blaming the Jews for everything.
That'd be okay. Ooh, we can combine our movies and they can fight each other.
They had that. They had that. They had that in Germany.
It was called The Will of the Triumph of the Will.
No, I thought it was Dawn of the Dead here. The left wing, anyways. Or really, it was actually George A. Romero said it was a commentary about how materialistic people are.
Oh yeah, Dawn of the Dead was absolutely.
Yeah, that's
that's why it was said in a wall, in a mall. Yeah, it was.
That's a good fucking movie, man.
I like to imagine that guy came up with all the social commentary after he made the movies. He was just like, somebody was like, "This is what I think it is," and he was like, "Yeah, that's what it is now."
That's true. Yeah, it could be in hindsight. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But no, I mean, you wouldn't put. I mean, otherwise, how do you ever fucking know? Right? Otherwise, what was Arthur C. Clarke doing with 2001: Space Odyssey? He just thought, I thought it would be funkier for a monkey
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah,
I know. I got really high in the script. I didn't know they'd make it into a
love
movie.
Stanley Kubrick though. I love all the conspiracy theories around him.
It was Arthur C. Clarke who wrote the book. Stanley Kubrick was the director.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick kind of did the same thing with Stephen King's The Shining. He's just like, "Oh, this is a nice book," and then throws it out the window.
It's true.
It's so true.
I liked Eyes Wide Shut, but really only parts of it.
Yeah, the fucking parts, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, just soft porn. Christ.
I mean, Nicole Kidman, she was hot. No.
Yeah.
I mean, not
remember back in the day?
Before. Like Days of Thunder? Oh my God. I had such a boner for her even then. Such a faggot.
When I was a kid, I watched a movie called BMX Bandits. I don't know if any of you have ever seen this.
Oh, I've heard of that.
But it's
a lot of people mention it.
I remember loving this film. It's an Australian movie. It's one of Nicole Kidman's first movies. I think it might be
it's a cult film.
And it's terrible. It is a terrible movie. I remember liking it when I was a kid, and then I saw it more recently as an adult. It came on some channel. And I was like, the fuck did I watch this for?
God, we've all got those, mate.
Yeah,
everybody's got those.
Yeah, we do.
But there's some of them you go back and you're like, oh yeah, this movie holds up.
Yeah, but then you also look back and you feel the hair on the back of your neck rising when you think, oh my God, I used to think this was good.
Go and watch Little Monsters as an adult. That'll freak you the fuck out.
Hey, Little Monsters is still good. I have watched that with my kids, and I still stand by that movie.
I didn't say it was bad. I said there are things you pick up in that movie as an adult that you don't generally pick up as a child, and you're like,
Well, you could do that through almost any freaking Disney movie from the 1940s and 50s.
They have to do that because parents take kids to the, I mean, like if you look at, Despicable Me and things, there's loads of jokes that are in there for parents. The kids aren't going to get them, but the parents get a laugh too, because they got to take the kids to the theater. Well, yeah, you got to put something in for the adults.
Mary Poppins is a prime example.
Yeah, that filthy bitch. She was a sewer rat, that one.
I heard in the original Charlie and the Chocolate, I think the book is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the original book had some weird dick jokes in it.
Yeah, they are. There's loads of examples of this stuff. And it has to be there. Otherwise, why would the parents even bother?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was racist as shit.
Did you guys ever see
against Orange Pig? Well, against Donald Trump's.
No. Originally, when Roald Dahl originally made the story, they were black pygmies.
They were, yeah.
That's cool.
Yes, but that's because back in the day when it was written, which was back in the 1920s or wherever.
So what you're saying
it was about pygmies.
Did they know the way?
About pygmies.
Did they know the way? Do you know the way?
So,
they knew the way to the chocolate
factory. What you're saying is Willy Wonka took in refugees from third world nations and gave them jobs.
And he was a he was a job creator.
Sound racist to me.
He was a diversifying job creator. Christ. Couldn't get anyone more fucking diverse.
Which is funny because he also wrote The Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I loved.
Well, I don't remember the Oompa Loompas being paid. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I don't think they were paid when they were black pygmies either.
He paid them.
They had all the sweets and sugars and fineries that were available.
And a free place to live.
That's why they all ended up with diabetes and had to have their feet cut off.
Yeah, they better have a dentist at the fucking chocolate factory.
Did you guys ever notice the part of the opening scene in the movie, the original movie, not the terrible one, where they fucking brain a child?
Wait, what? Hold on.
Okay, so the opening musical, the Candyman Can. There's a scene where in the candy shop where he goes to open like the little fucking lid that lets him out of the back area where the desk is. You know, the little fucking flip top for the counter, and he fucking nails a kid in the chin with it.
He nails a kid in a gym.
The chin.
Oh right! I thought you said he nailed a kid in a gym.
So he flips it up and hits her right in the chin.
Porn. Good God.
Didn't know Gene Wilder was into that.
No, it wasn't Gene Wilder. It was the.
I could see Gene Wilder punching a kid, though. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. I could have seen that.
Hey, if it felt right in the scene, I think he'd do it.
Yeah, I think he would have done it. Definitely.
Yeah, and back in the day, I mean, you know, it's just part of the, you know, the usual rough and tumble of actual life, as opposed to now everyone's being.
Yeah. Especially the little bastard that shot him in the ass.
Have you guys seen the film theory thing on Willy Wonka, where the theory is all those kids
Grandpa
got murdered,
Joe. And
or
Grandpa
got murdered
Joe's
or
a
whatever?
bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't throw in any rape or anything as well, just to spice it up.
No, that's Stephen King's job.
Oh yeah.
That's just all these, you know, conspiracy theories. Like, how far do they
Listen.
want to go? They got it's like adding salt, a bit of pepper. It's like, no, it's not quite right. Now we need a bit of chili, and then we throw in some
Rape.
If
Yeah.
you have the urges, if you have the urges, and putting them in a kick-ass novel is your way of dealing with it, I'd rather you did that.
Yeah. Have you read the Game of Thrones books?
Oh,
I
God.
don't know what the fuck George has fetishes for with all the incest in that fucking book series.
Well, incest was Wincest way back in the day.
Yeah, but look at the fat
that's how the
fucker.
rich
I
stay
mean, when was
rich.
the last time he even saw his dick? For Christ's sake! I mean, this fat bastard
Cabbage,
who's
when
never
was the
got
last time you
laid.
saw your fucking dick?
Excuse me, I still have well, I've got a 32-inch waist at the moment, so don't you worry. I can see all of me, and I'm proud of it.
I've seen Cabbage's dick more recently than he has.
When did you
wanna
do
ask.
that? You dirty bastard!
He
Well,
looks
you
more
can't
like
do it.
He looks more like Winston Churchill than fucking Gary Oldman did in the movie.
Oh my God! No, that would be frightening. That would be frightening. No,
I wanted to see
am-
that too, actually.
I am trim. Yeah, I definitely. I've been meaning to download it, and I still haven't done it. I'm going to do it tonight when I go to bed. Definitely darkest hour.
Somebody needs to do a bit where they dress up as Hitler and then film a reaction shot in the character of Hitler watching The Darkest Hours.
Oh, it should be
Just
Prince
like-
William.
Just
It should
getting
be Prince
angrier and
William.
angrier.
No, Prince Harry.
99999.
None of this is accurate.
No, you need Prince Harry doing it. Like, remember, he did that, you know, in his Nazi regalia when he went to a party.
Oh yeah, I
How about-
remember that.
A Prince Harry reaction video. Acting as the Führer. Because, of course, his great uncle was Edward, who was Edward VII, who was going over, you know, chatting with Goebbels and Hitler. Very good friends.
Well, Henry Ford was a fan of Hitler before he became, you know,
Yeah. So with the Bush family.
the Jew killing leader of Germany.
Yeah, Henry Ford actually wrote.
Oh,
a
no,
book called
even
The
after.
International Jew,
Well, yeah, he wasn't a big fan of Jews, and they were both Nietzsche fans too.
That's true.
and so his.
But when Hitler started exterminating, Henry Ford was like, "Wait, guy, I don't like him, but that's a little too far."
You got to slow down there. You got to slow down there, sailor. We got a lot of open water to cover.
Baby
Oh.
steps.
Yeah,
So-
you got to slow down a little.
We
You're
have
getting too much attention to this shit.
we have a guy at work that's an idiot, and I had this idea, but I don't. I'm worried to try it because I'm afraid it might work.
Oh God.
I want to convince him that April is International Charlie Chaplin Day, and get him to grow a Charlie Chaplin mustache.
You mean a Hitler stash?
No, a Charlie Chaplin mustache,
Yeah.
sir. I'm
Well-
worried that it'll work.
They resemble each other.
Well, that's because Hitler was
Well,
a
yes.
Charlie Chaplin fan.
Which
That's
is
not an
why.
accident.
Well, he wasn't. Not when he made the
No, well, no, yeah.
The film, the Great Dictator. I don't. I think that was banned.
I think Charlie Chaplin found out and said, "Fuck that guy. We'll get this fixed right away."
I don't know. I was watching a World War I documentary, and they said Hitler did that because the gas mask in World War I wouldn't fit properly with his full mustache, and so he just chopped it off one day in the trench. I don't know if that was true or not, but
That sounds like a good time.
oh yeah, mustard gas and fucking trench foot. Yeah, it was glorious.
Well, I'm saying that mustard gas, mustard gassing is not exactly the time to start getting out your razor.
I just take ketchup pills and it neutralizes the mustard gas.
Okay, it was a documentary on Amazon Prime.
Fucks your eyes up, it gets into your skin, everything.
I'm not putting a lot of stock into Amazon's documentaries. I'm just saying that's where I saw it.
Mustard gas is a blister agent.
Yeah, it's nasty.
It kills by basically causing blisters, and if it gets into your lungs, it basically blisters your lungs and causes you to drown.
That's sexy.
Which is why you are not going to be spending time, worrying about your facial hair.
Yeah, I mean, look at the guys in World War II, like the Battle of the Bulge. They were fucking full bearded just so they could stay fucking warm.
Mm-hmm.
And the Germans going to cross over to Stalingrad.
That's why I grew this horrible beard I have now that my wife keeps bitching at me about, because it was fucking cold this winter.
Does anybody listen to the Hardcore History podcast?
No.
What? Oh, you guys should.
No.
This dude put out what amounted to a 23-hour fucking seminar on World War I. It was good. I really enjoyed it.
That sounds really fucking boring, but alrighty, sir.
No, that sounds
a really good job.
Drop the link in Discord.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. But I'm not sure about the full 20-odd hours. Is it debate or is it just, discourse?
Well, no, because it was like 5 or so episodes in 3 and 4 hour chunks. It was like 6 episodes.
Oh, okay. I might have seen them in passing.
He's got one that's a few hours long on Genghis Khan. He's got he picks turbulent points in history.
Genghis, not Genghis. Why do people say Genghis?
Because it's Genghis.
J in it.
No, it's Genghis.
It's Genghis. And look, you want to dig him up, resurrect him, and have him correct me? I will change it.
Well, you couldn't do because you can't find his.
How about Temujin? Is that fine?
You can call him Christopher if you want to.
Okay, Christopher Khan.
Hey, he is not a Chris. He's not cool enough to have that.
David Khan?
Quentin Khan.
Oh, my real name's Davey. I just go by Genghis because it sounds cooler.
Oh my God, Cabbage, your favorite movie's on Hulu.
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Gamer.
Oh.
I like Gamer. I don't understand why you got such a beef on it. I like Gamer.
I wasn't a big fan. I thought it was boring and kind of dirty looking.
It's funny.
No, it is. I mean, it's got. It is. It's a good one.
I used to think Idiocracy was funny, but the more true it becomes, the less.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
We're not watering our yard with Gatorade yet, so we're okay.
Give it time.
I was about to say, give it time.
The tide pod eating fools will be more than happy to attempt to try and grow plants with Gatorade.
Yeah, but you see, at least with Gatorade, you'd be putting something into the soil. They'd probably try and do it with Tide.
Yeah, you'd be putting salt into the soil.
Yeah.
The Romans did that for a reason.
Well, I mean, the salting of the field.
It's got what plants need.
Well, it's got electrolytes. Come on, it's still funny. Come on. And when they got they got the hole in the wall just so they could fit the and the hospital where they couldn't even fit the letters on, so it has to roll over the side. There's so many subtle things in those.
I'm not gonna lie. I can't wait till they change the name of Fuddruckers to Buttfuckers.
There you go.
I mean, there are parts of that movie that I do kind of want to see.
Come on,
Well,
it
hey,
is still no stupid. Idiocracy does stand the test of time. It does. I mean,
Yeah.
it is still funny, but it's also like you said. The further we get in, the more cringeworthy it gets.
Well, and I bet you there's some YouTube channels which is nothing but people getting kicked in the balls. So I think they were accurate
Ow,
on
my
that
balls.
Well,
too.
there is. Well, what the fuck do you think? Yeah, I mean,
Go away.
they got that from. God, what was that TV show? You know, the fucking cretins
Jackass.
doing. Yeah, Jackass. I mean, it was basically just
Yeah.
Jackass.
That's what Jackass was.
Hey, but,
That's all
but
it
you know what?
is.
It's hilarious when you watch a dude get hit in the balls. I'm sorry, it's hilarious.
It is. It's still funny. Or you know, like somebody gets hit in the
No.
head when somebody turns around and smacks him with a plank or something. That
Or
is
the-
still funny.
Or there's
No,
a kid with a wiffle bat and a baseball playing
Yeah.
with his dad, and you know that baseball is going to go somewhere near the dude's crotch. It's still
Someone
funny.
even someone flatting out on a pavement, on an icy pavement. That's still funny. When
Whatever.
slapstick is not dead.
Screw you, Cabbage. You ever skateboarded and then watch those skate videos where
Oh,
the
I
guy
love
comes
those.
down on the rail and his fucking knee just snaps in half?
Yeah.
Oh,
Those
that
are
isn't
hilarious.
funny. There's nobody laughing if there's
That's me.
skateboarders.
That's
They're
me
just
laughing.
cringing.
I'm laughing.
skateboard, I'm
What a
laughing.
fucking idiot.
I used to skateboard.
This is another
a lot.
fucking idiot.
Oh, I used to skateboard in high school, and God, I cringed every time I saw those videos. But you can't look away. Like,
But
there
it's
goes their
funny.
ankle. Like, oh, fuck.
Or when they get nutted. Like when they hit the grind, on their
No,
nuts.
that's horrible.
It's hilarious.
Well, are you getting ready to listen to Winston Churchill speeches or something? Nobody?
No, that was
Yeah.
the beginning of the.
No, that Eisenhower, wasn't it?
That was
No,
that was Franklin Delano Roosevelt
Yeah, Roosevelt.
speaking to
day
Congress.
that
I'm just-
I always get Eisenhower, Roosevelt switch for some reason. It's weird.
How could you get them switched?
I don't know. It just seems to happen. It's some weird wiring in my head.
I mean, they were
I'm not
nothing
gonna argue.
alike.
I know. That's why I say it's weird.
I'll just throw. You want me to throw it in the Redeye stream channel, or where do you want me to put it? Anywhere? Politics?
Yeah, that's fine.
What? Which one?
Video share or politics or whatever.
Okay. Just throw. I'm already in the video share channel.
But yeah, it's almost 7 o'clock over here. We're gonna get ready for dinner. Any last minute stories you guys want to talk about? I got a little bit of time left.
Who wants to punch David Hogg in the balls? Raise your hand.
Yay!
Yeah, I concur with that motion. When does he turn 18? I just hope somebody beats the crap out of him.
Well, what's happened with him moaning about he can't get into a college and thing? I'm surprised.
Don't stay moaning about it. He'll fucking send the entire world after you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's getting very litigious.
I
Isn't it?
honestly don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think that he'd be the one that every single socialist university would be crying out for. You think he'd have, an excess of offers.
You don't know what the problem is. It's real simple. He's from out of state. He's white and he's male.
He's a straight white male, and he got rejected before all this other stuff.
Ah, right. Okay. So he's incompetent. So he's an incompetent straight white male.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good reason not to get.
Here's
here's
my
not
question.
to get an offer.
Because I want to see if I can get Mad kicked off of YouTube. Here's my question. The way he sends hate mobs after people he disagrees with, is that what he did to a certain somebody who then decided to become a school shooter?
Well, I mean, it's very possible. Yeah, certainly would be an indicator of his character traits, wouldn't it?
Because it came out that they fucking bullied that dude. So
Yeah, I don't think. Regardless, though, I really think that it all comes down to the cops had all the information, the FBI had all the information, everybody had all the information, but they dropped the fucking ball.
Yes.
Period.
This was an issue of the police not doing their jobs. That's what this was.
no,
I mean,
it's not because the kid was bullied or any of that bullshit, because everyone I fucking know was bullied, including myself.
Yeah.
So don't give
Well,
me that.
everyone
fucking
gets
bullshit.
bullied at some point in school. You only stop getting bullied when you stand up for yourself. I mean, that's one of the learning processes in life.
Well,
Well, he stood up for himself now, didn't he?
yes. I mean, people can stand up for themselves, but the bullying still
Yeah.
can continue.
Exactly. I mean, you don't have to snap to do it.
Right. I mean, the thing is everyone knew that he wasn't wrapped tight. Everyone knew he was a problem. The police had been at his house literally.
So why would you bully somebody who's
dozens
a potential fucking dynamite
of
way
times.
to blow?
Yeah, because they don't fucking care. They don't give a shit.
Well, then the stupid kids. There we go, Darwinism.
Because they don't. Because all right, it goes on to the fact that they're in high school and they're acting like 2-year-olds, and you don't. The schools do not act or treat these people as if they're young adults. They treat them as if they're children, and that's what they constantly call them, children. And it's some of the dumbest shit that goes on. There was a show on where it was a news show, and this was years and years ago. All right, and they were talking about sexual harassment in school, and this was in a school in California. And I'm watching the show, and I'm watching the show with my wife, the news show. And on there, they interview the mother of this one girl. And during the interview, she says, well, I taught my daughter that nobody could grab her ass unless she sat there and gave them permission. And now my daughter, she's got to go through, all sorts of psychological counseling and everything else. And I looked at my wife and I said, do you think that way? And she goes, well, what do you mean? I said, her mother just lied to her. Okay? It's not that guys can't do it. Guys shouldn't do it. But there's nothing physically preventing a guy from not grabbing a girl's ass. And if she has to go through psychotherapy because somebody did something that she didn't expect, and oh my God, people were grabbing my ass, and now I need. Then you were lied to, and you didn't understand what reality is like. It's not that it makes it right. It's not justifying the guy's actions, but it doesn't sit up there and absolve somebody for telling people stupid things. Teach your kids right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I got bullied, and I didn't find this out till later, but my mom wanted to step in early, and my stepdad and my brother convinced her not to. And I thought that nobody gave a shit, and it turned out that they were keeping, when these bullies were following me back home, they were keeping an eye on me to make sure I didn't get, too in over my head, but they wanted me to solve my own problems.
It amazes me when because I'm guessing, is anyone here go to a boarding school at all?
That's for faggots.
No, well, whatever. I know if you're going to find out if you're a faggot if you're there, that's then you would. But the thing is,
okay.
Well, no, I mean, if you. No, I'm just saying.
It's okay, Cabbage. You can open up to us. We'll take it off air even.
No, it's fine. I'm just saying. No, I mean, I don't feel, like if I was ever going to turn gay, it would have happened there. Because you've got to go into showers and everything together, right? You're living in the same dormitories. You know what I mean? Everything is shared. So if you're going to find out you were gay,
Cabbage,
that would
no
be
one
a
thinks
place
you're
to
fucking
find
gay, okay?
No, I know they don't. I'm just saying that, that kind of stuff. But in terms of like an environment of getting bullied and stuff, right? Because people would get, I mean, you can't get away. Like people who go home at the end of the day, you've got away from it for, how long are you at school for? And that's what I don't get, right? When you're away at school, you got to deal with it. You either got to stand up and, stand your ground or whatever, but then you get these people who go back home and I don't know, what is it that pussifies people, that they can't stand up for themselves? You put kids in an environment where they have no other opportunity but to stand up to, for themselves, then they will. It's not like, 700 and odd kids and not one of them. I mean, every single one got bullied at one time or another. And they didn't have a mummy and daddy to go crying to at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, yeah, you have your own groups of friends. And then you have, like, for me, there was just one person that me and him would fight all the fucking time. But that was about it. It wasn't really a major bullying thing. There was one asshole, and you knew who the asshole was. You tried to avoid him. If not, whatever. You might get in a fight that day. other than that, you still had friends. I mean, at least I did.
But that's what I mean. I mean, what drives? I mean, like when you got these kids who can go home and they, go and cry to mummy and daddy. I mean, you don't have anyone to go and cry to.
It's not that, Cabbage. There's the situation becomes also a part of dreading the next day in school. Dreading that you're going to have to deal with this.
Imagine dreading waking up in the same dormitory as somebody.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but what it is there's too many people that aren't being told to act like adults, and the adults themselves treat these young adults as if they're small little children, and they try to lecture them the same way, and it doesn't always work. And there are people who are in schools that shouldn't be in school. Not because they're bad people or anything else, but because for whatever reason, they don't want to learn in that environment, or they can't at that point. They can't calm themselves down, or they don't want to be there. They have some anathema toward those schools. And we used to take those people and put them in other types of schools, all right, and isolate them until they started acting right. But then that's not the way it is anymore. Now we've got it so that you can't even get rid of these kids. They have to be in the schools, all right? You can't keep them isolated, and all of a sudden now you end up in a situation where we just got to let this continue and continue and continue until it goes out of control.
That's not necessarily true, though, MC. Because my son was having My son was having problems listening at home and in school, and I made the very real threat that I'm going to send you to military school. There's a charter school in Eugene. You could take the public transportation there, and they give you passes and shit. And I was going to send him to military school. He straightened up real quick. And so there is a viable option here to send these troublemakers to military school.
You had that option. How many other school systems have that option?
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure just how the military is going to improve. I mean,
it's a structured
that could compound the problem, but yeah, I understand. Yeah,
it's a structured environment, and many of these kids need structure, and they don't.
So yeah, I mean, well, maybe you just answered my question then. What is it about being at boarding school? You don't end up with this sort of nonsense because it is structured, and everyone is pretty much in the same circumstances, and everyone knows that they're at the same risk or whatever. So maybe it balances out. Like I said, you don't have the mummy and daddy to go crying to.
Yeah, how long are you there at boarding school? Like, you go away for the full 6 months or whatever, and then come home for summer, or?
No, it's terms. You have 3 terms. Memes. Sorry, unknown. Why are you humming?
What?
Humming.
Whenever you talk, I'm reminded of Willy Wonka.
Shut the fuck up.
All right. But you go away. You're basically at school 7 months of the year. Yeah, night and day. That's how it works. Spread over 3 terms. And you do that. Well, I did that from the age of 7 till 18.
And so, do you think that's a good system that you guys have over there? Because almost everybody goes to boarding school in the UK, right?
No, it's rarity. No.
Oh,
no, we have the same problems. No, we have the same problems with state schools as you do. Loads of fucking catastrophes happening here too. Trust me, you're not on your own on this one. Our teachers are constantly striking too. The National Unions of Teachers, called NUT. Can you believe that? Nutters. They're always on strike over something.
But yeah, what I saw in the military school is, it's structured, and they actually have consequences for your actions. You don't just get a slap on the wrist and get sent home. You had to do push-ups. You had to run laps, and that's what I liked about it. And that's what my son didn't want to do. So he straightened up.
And we had all of that. Plus we had caning. You could actually get caned. Corporal punishment at the prep school I went to. Yeah, you fucked up. You could get 6 or 12 of the best.
I guess my parents were old-fashioned and just beat the shit out of me themselves.
Switchblade, the switch.
Pretty much. Raise a witch.
I did. I think I had the same type parents. Well, I shouldn't say that because my mother didn't really hit us because she was too small.
I'm gonna jump out, guys, and enjoy the rest of the stream.
She would just use good night, nobody. She would just use the proverbial "wait till your father gets home."
Yeah, my mother did the same thing.
So I mean, but the idea that children are all the same, the idea that kids are all the same, and you can approach things from a cookie cutter approach, it's nonsense. And too many people think that you're going to socialize these kids in high school, and they expect the parents to sit up there and support them.
Okay, MC, but then you get to the point of at how far down do you want to fracture these children into how smaller groups? You know how to, and again, you end up with those conflicts between the different groups because each one has to be classified by one particular designation, or you know.
I have an idea. What you do is you take you have the regular elementary and middle school, right? At the end of middle school, you take a test on what trades that you want. You tell them what that you kind of want to do and what you're good at. And then they filter you into a charter school that is more like a trade school that is slanted towards your ability, what you're passionate about. And then you'll be too busy enjoying school and preparing for the rest of your life to shoot up the place.
You know what?
That used to happen. They were called apprenticeships. They used to have a very simple thing called apprenticeships. Instead of shoving every kid into college and loading them up with debt, they would put them into apprenticeships.
You know what I was
actually learn a skill.
when I was in high school? Pussy. So if they have a trade school for pussy, I'm all about it.
Well, there is. It's called a whorehouse.
Well, they don't have them here. They have them here. But my thing is I remember when I was a kid, we had a choice between college and a trade school. And then we were told just college, right as I was getting out of high school, is either you go to college or you work at McDonald's. Well, I found out that you have to work at McDonald's to pay your fucking college loans, right? But then you've got people like the Japanese who you have to test into every single grade, every school you go to.
Yes. And then you end up with these anally retentive lunatics.
Yeah, but they're not.
Then you end up with tiger mommy.
Either.
Well, that's
China. That's China. Yeah. Tiger mom.
Well, no, tiger is the general region. I mean, the Japanese are just as bad. You know, a lot of the Korean mums too. You know, they really force their kids and okay, a lot of them don't go shooting up other places, but they do have a high suicide rate.
It's true. You're absolutely right, but so do we.
Yeah, but I mean, those kids are, you know, proportionately, they're more likely to commit suicide because of the pressures placed upon them by their parents. So.
What do you think about my idea, though?
Well, like I told you, it's the same thing. It's not a new idea. It's not new.
I don't think the idea would work. I honestly, it's like
it did work, and it worked for years, and it was called apprenticeship programs. And the difference was, though, that you weren't just going to a training college; you actually worked on a job. And you learned from the people who were doing the job.
Yeah, but we don't make shit anymore. That's the other thing.
It's basically, you know, like what do they call it now, where you do a job and you get paid fuck all for it. It's an intern.
Yeah, exactly. You're talking about
exactly. Well, it used to be called an apprenticeship, and you used to get paid to do it too, and you got trained up, and then you'd actually have a fucking job.
I know, but America doesn't produce anything anymore. So what the fuck are you gonna do?
We produce lots of things.
Yeah, but
what do we produce? Tell me.
No, you have a student that's really good at history and science. Let's say they're really good at history and science. You send them to a charter school that will cover everything else also, but it's slanted towards history and science.
But what if he doesn't want that to be his job? And let's remember, people change.
Well, no, you don't get allocated to an apprenticeship. You choose it. That's the point. You know, like you said, if you take it through, you know, when you get to a certain age and you find out what people are most, you know, capable of doing. I mean, certain people are academic, certain people aren't, right? That's a fact. Like there are certain people who are never going to be academic. They just can't focus or concentrate, or they're just not, you know, they can't grasp.
It's not their thing. It's not, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, what about
there's nothing wrong with that. That's why you put these people into these apprenticeships, and instead of them being internships where it's only there for the, you know, the rich kids who can afford to, you know, to do it, you actually get paid to do a job.
Yeah,
and get trained up in the job.
they have that in America too. It's called the United States military.
Yeah, but the British one, you didn't have to
FC
blow
has a
anyone up
point.
to do it. Yeah, but in the British
FC
one,
has
you
a
don't have
point.
to fucking blow anyone up to do it.
Well,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
maybe not
let's
do
not
it.
talk about differences between U.S. military and the British, you know, whatever.
No, I'm not saying the military, because I'm saying that the apprenticeships had nothing to do with the military. They were things that we've had. I mean, they go back to the 1900s.
Yeah, but we still don't produce anything to warrant having apprenticeships.
You do still saws, and I mean, you have an
we-
awful lot of product. Or I mean,
we
the thing
need
is,
to-
you may not produce the final product, but you produce an awful lot of components.
Well, and what's wrong with bringing back manufacturing anyway?
exactly.
But
I'm not against that either. It's just we don't have it at the moment.
but also maybe not from middle school to high school. Maybe junior and senior year you transfer into this separate area. Maybe that'd be a better age group.
I don't know. Kids change their mind all the time. That's the thing. I know I did.
Yeah, but also like you have these kids that were really good at mechanics, right? They did freaking welding or whatever for electives. You can have these charter schools that focus on that trade for them.
Yeah.
And then you also teach them everything else. But there's a slant towards the certain field they want to go into.
Yeah.
And then you also have a career counselor or something who helps them find, the job after they graduate. We could do a lot of things with the budget we give towards education that we're not really doing. That's why I'm a big proponent of the charter schools.
Or you could actually have companies who sponsor it. So rather than getting cheap, getting labor for free, they actually sponsor the people to come and work for them and things. I mean, there's plenty of other ways of, of doing it without it having to be a burden on the taxpayer.
The problem is there's too many people that, especially in high school, that they think they watch television, they think everything that glitters is gold, and that it's all just going to, fall in their laps.
True. Yeah,
Everyone just wants to be famous now.
Yeah, media studies and shit.
I'll be honest with you. That aspect of the social media culture, I still haven't. I still don't understand it. I still don't understand the need to go on Twitter. I still don't understand the need to,
Well, that's because you're fucking old. That's why.
And I don't have an Instagram account, Facebook, or Twitter, and never have had them, never will have them. And I
have them. I just don't care. It's just, I think it's okay. So they compare what the millennials and the Gen Zs, what they went through as or what I'm also a millennial. So like 3 industrial revolutions at the same time with the internet, with the cell phones, and with something else. I can't fucking remember. So apparently, that just blew our minds, and we have so many choices to do whatever. It's just we don't have an identity, and we're trying to create one out of thin air. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I think people are getting more and more into the trend thing. People are getting, more into groups. I mean, emulating a particular
because
social identity.
Because they're too fucking stupid to think for themselves.
Yeah. They don't want to know who they are. They want to know who they want to associate with.
They want that instant gratification, that satisfaction of, hey, I got it now.
Yeah, well, and don't forget, Zuckerberg and no, it wasn't Zuckerberg. Who was the guy at Facebook? One of the senior VPs or directors or whoever. And he came out and said, well, there's been a few of them who said that, social media is an absolute travesty on the young people.
Well, yeah.
It's been totally destructive.
But to be honest, they said the same thing to us about Pokemon cards. So.
Yeah, but they were. And the evidence is in. We already have the proof. You are it, Wolfie. You alone are it.
I know. Here I am.
A singular entity.
Fucking Pokemon.
Exactly. And they went from Pokemon, and now we got, I'm a fucking hell.
Bring back.
Come on, it's a downward spiral, let's be honest.
Technology is a burden and it's a godsend right at the same time.
Of course. Well, it's not, but it's not the technology that's the problem. It's the application of technology. You know, if you can make a program for somebody, but it's how well it's adopted, right? If there's no uptake, then it's worthless. But it shows you just how easily manipulated people are into being retarded.
Well, you've got my generation, you've got the millennials or whatever the fuck, Gen Y, and then we're having kids right now, and we're teaching them to be fucking retarded, right?
Yeah. Well, this is idiocracy. I mean, that's the whole point of the
Speak
very
for
beginning
yourself.
of idiocracy.
Shut up, faggot. You just stop. You're a libertarian. That's enough. Okay? It's enough.
But this is the whole point of the beginning of idiocracy. The very intro to idiocracy is exactly this point. You got a whole bunch of morons raising morons, and then you got the intellectuals, you know, the ones who create the economy, you know, and have the ability to actually make, you know, develop the future, and they're breeding at, 0.1%, and you got the other ones popping each other out left, right, and center.
Well, that's the problem in Japan. They're not having any fucking kids.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that the dudes are scared of the women or whatever the fuck it was. Like the women are too aggressive or some shit like that. And I'm like, are you just a pussy or what?
Aggressive? They're only like 4 feet tall. They're like bloody pocket things. You stick one in your pocket.
I don't know. I don't fucking care. I think it's weird, but hey, I don't want to have kids either because, I mean, Jesus, look at the shit we're in. I mean, I'm not saying
I wouldn't. Very weird.
I wouldn't make a good parent. I'm not saying that. I mean, I don't know, honestly, but I just don't want to put a child through whatever the fuck this bullshit is happening.
I've got to say, I'm glad I never had kids. I really am.
Well, on the bright side, SpaceX launched a rocket today, going to the International Space Station. It did not blow up. That's always good.
Cool. Did the bottom bit land back again? Was it a vertical? Was it a VTOL return platform?
I'm not sure. I just watched the launch, so
I thought they were always meant to come back again. I thought they were like homing rockets.
Yeah, it's going to be gone for like 4 days or whatever. Whole capsule or whatever. It's got 5 tons of equipment for the space station, food and all that shit.
Oh, right. No, then that's a heavy lifter. So it won't be coming. Yeah, there wasn't no return vehicle.
Stanley Kubrick, the space landing or the moon landing, whatever.
Yes.
Oh, have you ever noticed?
That's a well-known fact.
You know,
Cat dog, shut up.
No, seriously. And I was totally sober this morning when I was watching the launch. 100% sober. I was just drinking water and apple juice. But I'm watching the launch, and it was like slow as hell. It doesn't look like it's going very fast.
No, they never do.
That's all. Yeah, it looks fucking slow.
No. Well, it is at the beginning because they have to accelerate. That's how acceleration works, mate. And when you're trying to shift like 5 tons plus everything else, you know, trucks don't suddenly go 70 miles an hour, do they?
No.
So when you're standing at a starting point and the truck starts to leave, it looks pretty damn slow, doesn't it?
Oh, fair enough, but they follow it all the way up till it hits the atmosphere or whatever, the outer.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at it at a distance,
yeah,
and you're looking at it in a freeze frame where you can't take a look at, or you can't really make a good judgment of how fast it may or may not be going, because your reference point is the sky in those cases where you have no way of judging it when you're used to using the ground as a reference point for how fast you're moving. I mean, I saw a video on a flat earther. And he was showing a picture of the space shuttle because he was going to prove, with this camera angle that the Earth was flat. And of course, he goes back and goes, "See, it's a straight line here." And of course, you can see the curve of the Earth, and it was just a dumb video. But in the video, he talks about 3 minutes in, the space shuttle's doing 500 miles an hour, and it's like, no, bozo, it's not doing 500 miles an hour. It's doing like almost 300 miles a second. Okay, they're moving that fast at that point because it basically at 1.5 G's of constant acceleration. You gain that speed at that point. Acceleration is on a parabolic curve.
They wouldn't be questioning it if they understood science.
Well, my question is why does he think it's only going 500 miles an hour? Where's he getting that stat from?
Well, because he's working it on, say, an image on a picture and an assumption as to the distance between each pixel or something. You know, each pixel is worth X distance. Well, they don't have to make sense because what they're talking is gibberish, right? I mean, that's how they win, right? Because they're talking nonsense. And then it's like, prove to me that I'm not talking nonsense. Yeah, it's they're trying to prove a double negative is what they're doing. You know, you can't, because they'll just come up with some other gibberish as well, you know?
Yeah,
it's a futile exercise. They're the flat earth people, and it still amazes me that they actually exist. You know, when it first came out, I thought it was a pose, you know, just people fucking about. And then it really turned out that people did want to buy into it. That blew my fucking mind.
Well, the idea that you're going to get that many people in on something is as bad as people are about keeping secrets.
No, I just mean about basic evidence. You know, like you got that Canadian kid who sends up a balloon. You remember he did it as a science experiment for his school, and even he managed to get it basically as high as the outer atmosphere. I mean, technically in space, and you could see it all and everything. Okay. I mean, you know, using things like crow's nests. You know, why was there ever a crow's nest? Why did, you know, people realize that standing at, you know, that somebody at the top of a post could see something that the person at the bottom couldn't? You know, right. These are basic ideas. It just blows my mind that these people are still out there. And again, doesn't this come down to the education system?
That I all totally agree with, but I mean, if you want to talk about faking the moon landing, there is a good reason why they would do that. They would do that to get a one-up on Russia because at that point,
they wouldn't have done a one. Yeah, but they're not doing a one-up on Russia because Russia knows that they didn't do it, right? Because, so it would be. Who were they proving it to? The Russians or the American people?
It wasn't. It wouldn't have warranted anything if it was faked. Like, I don't know. It wouldn't have done shit. Russia already knew they lost. China's just sitting there like, we're going to kill all these fucking people and it's going to be great because I'm Mao.
Well, the thing is, did Russia ever claim at the point where America went to the moon and they were monitoring all the signals coming from the spaceships and everything, did they ever claim that the Americans actually didn't do it? I mean, you'd have thought of all the people who would have claimed that they didn't do it, the Russians would have been the first, right?
Why is that to Russia's advantage to get in on the secret?
The whole thing is fucking nonsense.
I don't know. I wanted to hear you guys freak out, and I got my wish. That's
I'm not freaking out. I'm freaking out because I believe wholeheartedly that you would believe that shit.
Exactly. That's the difference.
Fuck off, Wolfshot.
No, fuck you, sir. No, seriously, you believe it, okay?
I would believe they faked the moon landing. God damn it.
Yeah, you would.
I see how little you think of me. Thank you.
I mean,
isn't that a staple of libertarianism?
Anyway, we know there are Nazis.
No.
Is it really? Is it really?
No, it's not.
I saw a documentary called Iron Sky, and I know there are Nazis on the dark side of the moon. So,
no, they're in Antarctica. They're in Antarctica.
Well, yeah, but they use that as a launch platform in order to get to the dark side of the moon, so they could hide out. They're coming back again. I saw it. It was a documentary.
Yeah, my father-in-law believes there are actual, you know, penguin or not penguins. Fuck.
Nazi penguins.
No, seriously, he believes there are Nazis in Antarctica. That's for real. I'm not kidding.
Sure
it's not a joke.
Yeah, but you can't stop people from believing things, can you?
No, it's just.
Well, it's a fact. I
gotta tell him not to say anything in public.
No, the Earth is hollow, and that's where the fucking Nazis and the penguins are hiding out. We already covered this. You realize
it's going to end up as a war between the ducks and the penguins.
Well, go Ducks then.
The squirrels and the panthers. If anyone gets that reference, I'll give you a cookie.
It's cow and chicken.
No.
Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty.
from Conker's Bad
No.
Fur Day, which is British, which I thought Cabbage would get. Because
well, I'm
Rare
sorry, I didn't even hear the title. What did you say?
Conker's Bad Fur Day. It's
I
like
don't
the
even
first
know what that
mature,
is.
It's like the first mature game they
it
came out
is
with for the N64.
the best Nintendo game ever.
Yeah, I have it
Huh.
still. It's amazing. Anyways, the company who made it, Rare, is a British company, or was a British company. So I
Alright.
assumed you would know the reference, but I assumed wrong. I apologize.
Yeah, you did, because
I did.
I didn't. I did have I had an original Nintendo, but I only had a few games for it. I got bored. I was working at the time too, and then I got the PS2, and I only had 2 games for that, I think. But I was playing Doom, and I was too much involved with Doom 2.
Dem mods though.
Oh, I had my own. Mine was level editing like a lunatic in the Doom 2 days.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I made so many different levels.
Did
I love
anyone
that
watch
fucking game.
Roseanne?
Cost of. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the new release is any good?
I liked it. I watched it. I
It
thought was
is.
good.
My wife and I watched it just yesterday or the day before. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it, and we're gonna watch it on Tuesday. So
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about the new. They got renewed for a new season as well.
Cool. I hope it doesn't go political and stuff. Start trying to
Too
use.
fucking late.
yeah, that's funny. I hope it does go political. It started political,
First
and it's
fucking
great.
episode.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Roseanne,
Cabbage,
but-
the kid wears girl clothes and wants to be a fucking what is it, a clothing designer or some shit, but
Yeah.
he's a boy. They asked him straight up, they're like, do you identify as a boy or a girl? He's like, I'm a boy. I just like fabulous clothes or some shit like that.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm not watching it. I give up.
No,
I'm not
no,
watching
it's
it.
good though because you see John Goodman, Dan, the blue collar guy, try to figure this out. It's really good. I don't know. Roseanne
Yeah, I'm
voted for
sorry.
Donald Trump, and she made that very clear the first episode.
Yeah, but it's just appealing to this whole shit, fucking social justice.
No,
nonsense.
it's not.
No, it's not.
It was
You have to
hilarious.
watch it. You faggot.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I'll give away another scene. The boy is doing his nails, right? And Dan has drywall on his hands, and the boy's like, "Oh, I like your nails," or "I like how you did your nails," and he's like, "That's wall, son." And like that's the jokes, Cabbage. It's just short little jokes that get the point across, and they move on.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. I won't, always try something twice.
I liked it. I thought it was fucking brilliant. I love the way that Roseanne handled it, and John Goodman, he did an excellent job too. Because when he saw the kid in a dress, he's like, "What the fuck is that shit?" It was great.
Okay. All right. No,
That would be my reaction. No offense to anybody.
Okay. No, I'm
seriously.
sorry. I thought you were saying that they. Okay, so they're actually so there is common. Like they're actually comedic moments regarding it. They're not just trying to appease it. That's cool.
No. They're like Roseanne.
Because I love Roseanne. Because Roseanne was the only honest American, sitcom that I've ever seen.
Yeah, for real. Honestly.
It was just a really good, real home life experience.
It's like the series never ended. Honestly, when I was watching it, I'm like, wow, it's like it never ended.
Oh, that's good. Okay, cool. I'll take your recommendation. Definitely. I will download it this evening.
I will give away one more thing. Jackie voted for Jill Stein, not Hillary, by the way.
Yeah, Jill Stein. Oh, no, that is clever.
And that was a snipe at Jill Stein because Roseanne ran against her in the Green Party ticket.
Okay.
Yeah,
it does sound good.
Yeah, me and my wife looked at each other at that part, and we both were like, "Thank God it didn't say Gary Johnson."
Is it the same? Is it the same writers?
Yes, Carsey Warner and Terry Hughes, I think. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
And Roseanne had a lot more. She said, according to the interview I watched, she had a lot more input in this show than she did in the previous show.
Well, yeah. I mean, to bring them back after 20 years, they had to put their foot down on a lot of shit. I'm sure. I'm sure they're getting paid big bucks too.
Well, it's like the most successful premiere since 2014.
Yeah, it was gigantic, and next day ratings were just as good off Hulu, and we watched it on ABC Go or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I mean, don't forget that, British people like me, I enjoyed Roseanne. I thought it was, a superb show. So, it's obviously an international thing too.
My favorite part
That's
of the
cool.
episode was where Darlene's like, "Hey, Mom, can I have some money?" Or her kid asks her, "Hey, Mom, can I have some money?" And Darlene asks Roseanne, "Hey, Mom, can I have some money?" She's like, "I don't know." And she looks up at the sky, "Can I have some money?" I'm like, same.
and
Yeah, but you
I
don't have
really
kids.
it's been said by a million other people, but I have to chime in too. I'm glad they disregarded the 9th season. Like seriously.
Oh yeah, I hated that season. I'm like, why does I love Dan? Why does everyone think I'm dead? But no, it was really good, and I think it's a return to roots. And I know I have a feeling in the cockles of my heart that there's going to be 12 other reboots of other shows. Like they're talking about The Nanny now.
Oh, I'd love to see.
No,
Yeah,
not the nanny.
I
No.
like
Well, leave it to Beaver. He's gonna get oh, I oughta.
But you know what? They're doing they're talking about doing a Golden Girls reboot, but with gay men, and I'm like,
Oh my god.
I don't no. I just put old ladies in there like before.
My God, yeah. I mean, old ladies was bad enough, but
How
Hey,
does an old lady? How does an
18-year-old
old lady?
queens.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how does an old lady
Right.
show translate into a gay show? How would that be a reboot? Like
I have no
that's
idea.
a different show.
I'd like to see a reboot of Married with Children.
Oh hell yeah!
Get
Hell
Ted Bundy back. Yeah.
No ma'am. I've got that fucking shirt. It pisses my wife
I
off.
would love that. And bring back Appleby as well.
I wonder if she would do it after the success of Sons of Anarchy.
I do hope so. Yeah.
Why
I mean,
not?
that'd be fucking funny, wouldn't it, to do that? It'd be brilliant. Married with Children, like. I mean, it's Married with Children, current year.
No, it would have to be still married with grandchildren and the father with their kids.
Exactly.
Like,
Imagine
Al
the
is
fun
just
Exactly.
in
The
hell.
only. How could it be any better? I mean, then he could just use the kids to piss his, the grandkids to piss his kids off. I mean, there's plenty of dynamics you can play with there with Al Bundy. That'd be brilliant. I'd love to see that.
But people are dropping like flies, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up anyway. I have to figure out what's for dinner. So this has been the Redeye stream 101. Yeah, kids, stop eating Tide Pods. Don't lecture me on guns. And for God's sake, stop snorting condoms. This is not an endorsement for drug use, but cocaine at least makes more sense. Good night and good luck.
Condoms are cheaper.
Yeah, they're free, right, at Planned Parenthood.